The main character of our story is Sa Feng Liao, the strongest hero of humanity. After an intense battle of 500 rounds against the Demon King, he emerged victorious. However, unexpectedly, the Demon King used a self-destruction skill. He was too dazed to react. Before he could escape, he took the full impact of the explosion. In a desperate moment, he activated the reincarnation function. But due to a technical glitch, the strongest hero of humanity was reborn, right into the demon race. The only way to fix this error? He had to be sent to the afterlife by someone else. Then he could reincarnate again. Who would have thought that? By some miraculous stroke of luck. He acquired an SSS-level healing skill, restoring 100.000 HP per minute. And so, an immortal demon, impossible to kill, was born. Alright, no more lengthy introductions. Let's begin. The story opens with a beautiful young girl acting all coy. She sweetly said, "Darling, when you defeat this final demon and unify all 6 lands, we will hold the grandest wedding ever." Sa Feng Lao's heart instantly burned with excitement. "Rest assured, I will lead everyone to victory." Highest level demon dungeon. SSS rank Demon King, Wymebula. Sa Feng Liao smirked and shouted, "Bring it on, you wretched thing." He charged forward alone to attack the Demon King. Day 18 of my enlistment in the army. Leading the strongest battle squad of humanity, I launched an assault on the highest level demon dungeon. Just one final step remained, and we could reclaim humanity's lost land. Sa Feng Lao's gaze was resolute. The 1,000-year war between demons and humans, it will end in my hands. Charging forward with unstoppable momentum, he raised his brow and declared to his opponent, "Humanity shall be victorious." Wymebula scoffed and asked, "Oh, really?" Suddenly, an urgent alarm rang from the system, making Sa Feng Liao tense up. Warning, warning, warning. At that moment, Wymebula unleashed an overwhelming pressure and bellowed, "If I die, I'm taking you with me." Sa Feng Liao froze in shock, stammering, Wait, this is bad." A massive explosion erupted. Damn it. Amidst the blinding light of the blast, the system displayed a message. "Your life force is critically low. You have only a few minutes left. Congratulations, host. Due to your leadership in guiding 511 troops to victory and your great contributions to humanity, you have been granted a chance to reincarnate. Choose reincarnation." Barely holding on, Sa Feng Liao looked up at the screen. Without hesitation, he pressed the reincarnate button. Why the hell not? He thought. In the dim darkness, a familiar voice rang in his ears. "Wake up, stop sleeping, their army is approaching." Sa Feng Lao's eyes shot open in shock. He gasped, I really got reincarnated?" Unable to contain his emotions, he burst into laughter. "Haha, damn Demon King, killing me won't be that easy." But then, he noticed the strange gazes directed at him, making him freeze on the spot. Frowning in confusion, he muttered, "Why am I surrounded by a bunch of ugly demons? And for so long?" Just then, an unfamiliar voice spoke up. It was Liao Iron, AC rank marksman in the group. "The Green Guild is closing in. If we don't run now, it'll be too late." Sa Feng Liao blinked in bewilderment, rubbing his face in disbelief. "What do you mean? Are you talking to me, old man?" At that moment, Sa Feng Liao caught sight of a mirror behind him. As he looked at his reflection, his entire being trembled. What he saw was a completely different version of himself. His heart clenched, his mind went blank, and then he snapped. "What? How did I become a demon?" Sa Feng Liao roared furiously, spewing flames as he bellowed. "Damn you, system, get out here. Didn't you say I'd be reincarnated? I'm supposed to be the beacon of humanity. My childhood sweetheart is waiting for me back home. And you turned me into this?" The surrounding demons exchanged baffled glances. What's wrong with him? No clue. Just then, the system's voice appeared, sounding awkward and hesitant. During your reincarnation, a bug occurred." Sa Feng Lao's fury only intensified. "A bug? Then fix it." The system stammered. Sorry, but that's not possible." Sa Feng Lao's face twitched. "What? Is this the kind of service you provide? I demand to file a complaint." Flustered, the system hurriedly apologized. "I'm really sorry, but I have prepared another chance for you to reincarnate." A system notification appeared before him. "To return to your human form, you must be killed once more. Note: self-inflicted death is ineffective." Before he could even process it, the system vanished, leaving only a parting message. "Get killed again, and you'll be reborn as a human." The surrounding demons, meanwhile, were completely fed up with him. Why does this brat always wake up acting like a lunatic? Yeah, he's always like this. A little trouble and he freaks out. completely unreliable. Just then, the human army launched an attack. Amidst the chaos, Sa Feng Liao was still wailing in despair. Will my fiancé remarry? Everyone was currently in Little Cam's room, not far from the exit. The human forces were within a 1-kilometer range. After carefully sensing the situation, Liao Main, AD rank mage, suddenly shouted in alarm, I can feel it. 12 members of the Green Guild are approaching. We're completely outmatched. Other than His Highness, who is B+ rank, the rest of us stand no chance against them. Panic-stricken, Liao Main urged everyone, we must escape immediately. If we get caught by those ruthless guild members, we'll be skinned alive. Hearing this, Windy Saw frowned and thought, the Blue Guild is nearby. They're humans, and now I'm a demon. A sly grin spread across his face. Ha, if the humans kill me, won't I just reincarnate again? His eerie expression made the other demons uneasy. Without hesitation, he charged ahead. Shocked, the others cried out, hey, what are you doing? Are you insane? The humans are blocking the corridor. Windy Saw stopped, scoffed coldly, and replied, HMPH, running away won't solve anything. Smirking confidently, he declared, I will hold off the humans alone. The rest of you, escape. For a moment, the demons looked at him differently. Is he sacrificing himself for us? Wait, isn't he the cowardly little Cam we know? What did you just say? But before they could react further, something unexpected happened. A magic formation suddenly appeared above them. Windy Saw's eyes widened in shock. Huh? He quickly recognized it, a meteorite array. Massive boulders crashed down, piling on top of each other, completely blocking his path. Footsteps echoed as someone approached. Liao Bandi, daughter of the Demon Lord and a B-rank celestial mage, stepped forward with a serious expression. We grew up together, she said firmly. In times of crisis, not a single one of us can be left behind. Windy Saw's face twisted in frustration. Damn it, stop interfering with my resurrection. He lunged forward, roaring, forget it, it's not happening. But even after throwing a full-force punch, the massive stones didn't budge. Liao Bandi remained silent, watching him closely, unable to hold back his anger. Windy Saw turned to her and snapped. You're seriously meddling in other people's business. Internally, he cursed, stupid woman. Meanwhile, his clenched fist throbbed painfully. Damn, that really hurts. Liao Bandi was momentarily stunned. Stupid woman, idiotic fool. Liao Iron couldn't hold back his fury and roared. Sa Feng Liao, how dare you speak to Her Highness like that? Windy Saw simply smirked and sneered. Don't underestimate the determination of a man. Liao Bandi's face suddenly flushed red. For some reason, she thought to herself, why have I never noticed before? He actually carries the scent of a real man. Someone else scoffed in annoyance. Forget him, if he wants to die. Just let him. Windy Saw closed his eyes and coldly declared, I've been running away all my life. Then, with fearless determination, he charged forward and shouted, what's so scary about humans? As a proud warrior of the demon race, let me die with honor. Despite his bold proclamation, deep down, he was desperately praying, please, just don't stop me this time. Moved by his words, Liao Bandi's eyes welled up with tears. Liao Iron sighed helplessly and gently pulled her hand, trying to persuade her. Your Highness, let's go. Windy Saw, seeing an opportunity, gleefully sprinted outside to find his glorious death. The Green Guild members were dumbfounded by the sight. Windy Saw spread his arms and excitedly shouted, come at me, my loves. One clean slash, 999 damage. If you're real men, cut me down. The warriors finally snapped out of their daze and charged toward him. Ah, here comes the sweet embrace of reincarnation. Windy Saw smiled in satisfaction, fully prepared to return to his human form. But suddenly a single arrow whizzed through the air. Then, a rain of arrows followed, shooting straight at the Green Guild members. Ambush, someone shouted in alarm. Windy Saw stood frozen, watching the unexpected turn of events. Huh? Liao Iron, now a B-rank evolved marksman, stood proudly with his bow drawn, exuding a fearless aura. With a proud smirk, he said, 3 years, it's been so long. I almost forgot the feeling of marching into battle alongside the Demon Lord. The demons' spirits surged. In mere moments, they were overwhelmed with passion and battle fervor. They could feel their combat strength rising. Some even triggered a permanent rank up. Windy Saw turned to stone on the spot. Liao Iron, fueled by memories of fallen comrades, clenched his fists in anger. After the Demon Lord's death, the humans never stopped invading our lands. We didn't fight back, and they continued to pillage and slaughter, treating demon lives like worthless weeds. We kept compromising, over and over again, to the point that we started seeing ourselves as the weak ones. Placing a firm hand on Windy Saw's shoulder, he declared, "This time, you were right." Meanwhile, Windy Saw was burning with sheer frustration. Lu Bingyi led the remaining demon clan and gave the order. Today is the day the demon clan rises in rebellion. The members of the Blue Guild were all stunned. What's going on? Both sides began to show signs of preparing for battle. Despite his hatred for this unexpected turn of events, Sa Fangliu could only gape at them, unable to say a word. Will Sha Qi be provoked by this? He wondered. Lu Bingyi glanced at the system. It identified her as a B-rank evolution mage, standing tall and dignified. "This is the moment," she declared. "You said we couldn't afford to lose even one of us." Her powerful aura sent shivers down the spines of the Blue Guild members. One of them shouted, "Didn't you say their strongest was only a B-rank demon? Then why is there an A- rank appearing? This is overwhelming power." At that moment, Lu Bingyi activated a massive magic formation in the sky. With a single strike, she unleashed heavenly fire judgment. Just like that, the once glorious Blue Guild was utterly annihilated. A single leaf drifted through the air. Sa Fangliu stared blankly, his pain reaching its lowest depths. Yet, he suddenly realized he wasn't dead. Instead, his system had upgraded. A series of notifications appeared. Level up. You have defeated the Blue Guild. Experience gained. 10.230 points. You have advanced 10 levels. Reaching D-rank demon. Skill points. +10. Item acquired. IPI 3 Golden Plum Personal Revival. Effect. If you are killed, you will be reborn as a human. Sa Fangliu was left disappointed. Am I really just a low-level demon, drifting in despair on my first day? He had once wished for death in the capital of Yun Nation. Meanwhile, within the Huo family estate, Mei Doutao couldn't believe his ears. What did you say? The hanging bridge plan was a total failure? The subordinate lowered his head respectfully. That's right, Lord Ma too. He then began his battlefield report. We had timed everything perfectly. The moment His Highness was surrounded by the Blue Guild, when they were all on the brink of total despair, that was when the demon warriors, according to their plan, Huo Wujin was supposed to appear in a dazzling and powerful manner. The subordinate continued. Young Master Wujin led the demon warriors to rescue His Highness. Displaying his limitless masculine charm in front of him, he stood tall and composed, his soldiers cutting down enemy after enemy. In the end, as planned, he was supposed to step over human corpses and embrace His Highness in his arms. The hanging bridge effect would then take hold, making His Highness fall in love with him. However, the plan failed at a crucial moment. The subordinate sighed. Who would have thought that, just when they were at their most desperate, they would suddenly enter an exalted state and completely crush the Blue Guild? He knelt on the ground and reported everything he knew. It said that it even awakened Her Highness's queen's power. Hearing this, Mei Doutao turned around and looked at the man sitting in the chair. General, what should we do? The man seated was the demon general Huoen, one of the 3 great military commanders. He let out a cold snort, remaining calm as he spoke. Military power is in my hands. With our status as the 3 great commanders, we can directly arrange for her to marry my son. Who would dare oppose us? In Huoen's mind, he pictured the 3 commanders confronting Lu Bingyi directly. He remained composed, his voice steady as he gave his order. Summon my son tonight. Tomorrow, he will lead troops to the court and propose marriage. I've long confirmed that this so-called hanging bridge effect is completely useless. At the same time, on Lu Bingyi's side, the people on Huoen's side never expected that the hanging bridge effect would actually work. She was currently soaking in a luxurious bath filled with rose petals, her expression brimming with joy as she thought to herself, who would have thought that this brat, in such a desperate moment, could be so brave? Lu Bingyi pulled back the curtain and called for Liao Manier. The handmaiden immediately turned around, waiting for her orders. Bring little Cam here later. I want to reward him. Liao Manier covered her mouth, laughing coquettishly, as she secretly repeated the word, reward, in her mind. By this time, Lu Bingyi was already seated on her bed, dressed in an incredibly seductive outfit. Silken ties wrapped around her, and her gaze was filled with love, tinged with a hint of shyness. Liao Manier understood the implication and quickly rushed out, calling back, Your Highness, I understand, I'll go right away. Seeing her reaction, Lu Bingyi was puzzled. Why is she so excited just because I said I wanted to reward him? Several empty wine bottles were scattered on the ground. Cam Nhacoc downed another drink, still holding a bottle in his hand as he gazed at the floating system interface. The display read, System reminder. Your skills have not yet been selected. 120 attribute points remain unallocated. Upon reading this, he grew furious, pointing at the system and shouting, "Like hell, I'm going to allocate them." He knew that if he did, it would only make it harder for him to die. Just then, another message appeared on the system panel. D rank demon, elite D rank. All basic attributes multiplied by 400%. Strength, 56. Speed, 41. Stamina, 61. Elemental power, 9. Mental power, 2. Cam Nhacoc rubbed his chin thoughtfully. D rank should still be easy to kill, but I'm too far from human territory. Who could possibly come and kill me here? Liao Mai Ni rushed over as soon as she heard the door open and shouted loudly. Little Cam, His Highness is looking for you. Cam Nacoc, his face flushed from drinking, leaned in intimately and said, Little sister, I'm coming right away. Liao Mai Ni instinctively dodged and let out a soft snort. He simply laughed brightly and pushed her forward with both hands. Feeling embarrassed, she stammered, What are you doing? You're drunk. Unexpectedly, Cam Nacoc shoved her towards a corner filled with torture devices. His voice filled with excitement. Hurry, only you can help me. Kill me now. Liao Mai Ni completely misunderstood his words. She hesitated, her eyes filled with caution, and shouted, What? Then, she glanced at him and secretly thought, Little Cam rarely says a word, but when he's drunk, he's this wild? Just then, a massive hammer came hurtling toward them. A second later, only Liao Mai Ni stood there, holding the 100-kilogram hammer in her hand, while Cam Nacoc lay on the ground with a huge lump on his head. She elegantly stretched her body in a captivating manner and playfully said, But today isn't the time. Today, you belong to His Highness. Soon after, the two of them arrived at the palace. Liao Bangdi sat on the throne, coughing lightly before speaking. Cam Lac OC, your bravery in today's passageway was remarkable. I am officially bestowing upon you the title of Most Courageous Hero. From now on, you may freely enter and leave the palace. She crossed her legs, exuding both charm and authority, before adding, Additionally, I am granting you the Royal Slayer's attire. It will turn you into a true hero. Upon hearing this, Liao Mai Ni's eyes lit up as she gazed at the outfit in her hands. Thinking to herself, His Highness has bestowed upon him the sacred war armor of the former demon lord. Even His Highness himself never dared to use this treasure. The Royal Slayer's attire was the very combat gear of the previous demon lord, used in countless battles across the land. Its capabilities included area-wide enhancement and power amplification for its wearer. Armor contents: multi-layered Kunlun belt, celestial extreme armlet, spirit necklace, galaxy pendant, heavenly demon gauntlets, warfire mystic battle robe, demon masked helmet, celestial demon scale armor, wind demon battle boots, weapon, supreme demonstone of extremes. Please top up and convert any basic weapon into the ultimate demonic weapon. Cam Nacoc accepted the outfit, his face filled with bewilderment and confusion. He muttered to himself, What's the point of this? Then, without a second thought, he casually turned around to leave and indifferently said, If there's nothing else, I'm heading back. Both Liao Bangdi and Liao Mai Ni were left in shock by his reaction. Who would have thought he would remain so calm? At this moment, Liao Bangdi gazed at him even more passionately, her eyes filled with love as she murmured, He has truly changed so much. He's far too calm now. As Cam Nacoc stepped outside, he happened to spot someone standing outside the palace, Wei Ming, one of the three great demon commanders of the Yun Nation's Law Division. Wei Ming, clearly displeased, muttered to himself, HMPH, no wonder they summoned him to the palace in the middle of the night. So, they actually gifted the former king's divine armor to this mere soldier? This so-called act of bravery. He clenched his jaw in anger. A reward of this level should have been bestowed in the presence of the demon god himself. Stealing credit like this is disgraceful and unworthy of a ruler. His frustration only grew as he thought, I've spent my whole life fighting for Yun Nation. Yet Liao Bangdi acts as if my efforts are invisible. This kind of unprecedented reward. Is she forcing me to stand with the Dark Generals from now on? Just as these thoughts churned in his mind, Cam Nacoc casually walked up to him and, sounding surprise, called out, Oh, old man. Wei Ming nearly lost his temper. He assumed Cam Nacoc had come just to flaunt his reward and inwardly cursed. Is this brat trying to show off to me? Shameless little punk. He gets something good and has to rub it in my face? Before he could finish his train of thought, Nacoc suddenly held out the royal outfit he had just received and said, "Here, I'm giving this to you." Wei Ming was completely stunned. A moment later, he finally processed what had just happened and shouted, What? You're giving this to me?" Nacoc, looking completely indifferent, nodded. Yeah. Inside, he felt utterly exhausted. I was ready to die. And yet they give me this worthless junk? What the hell do I need this for? I'd rather just toss it somewhere and be done with it. Then, with a firm gaze, he said, "His Highness has always appreciated your dedication to Yun Nation. She specifically instructed me to give this to you. Take good care of it." With that, he turned around and walked away, casually waving goodbye as he left. Wei Ming remained frozen in place, completely unresponsive, but just a second later, it was as if he exploded from within, gripping the collar of his robe. He shouted at himself, filled with guilt and remorse. His Highness is unworthy? Just now, I actually thought that? I'm worse than a pig or a dog, damn it. I'm a disgrace. From this day forward, I swear I will never waver again. Meanwhile, Nacoc wandered off to find a quiet corner. Sinking into deep thought, with a weary sigh, he mused, looks like getting killed here isn't going to work. Even the demons are managing to unite with each other. Guess I'll have to find another place to die tomorrow. At that moment, a voice echoed from the other side. Young master, you have returned. A steady voice responded. Why has my father summoned me so urgently? Cam Nacro immediately stood up and hid behind the wall, secretly peeking at the soldier who clasped his hands and reported. Young master, the Grand General has decided to take action tomorrow. He focused on reporting to Hawk Warlord, unaware that someone behind him was eavesdropping. When the time comes, he will personally lead the elite guards and demon soldiers, representing the three great orders in the court. He will propose marriage on behalf of His Highness. If anyone dares to disobey, they will be executed without mercy. Hearing this, Cam Nacro caught 6 crucial words and silently repeated them to himself. Lead the army. Kill without hesitation. His expression changed in an instant, a sly smile forming on his lips as a new plan emerged in his mind. In that case, I will stay here for one more day. The next day, at the Cloud Kingdom's Grand Hall, the Demon Clan had fully gathered before Laurel Frost to hold a small assembly. Looking at the scene before him, Cam Nacro couldn't help but feel exasperated. Who would have thought demons in the morning would be just as chaotic as ink stains on paper? Let's get to the main topic. My daughter reported, Your Highness, in honor of his filial duty, the Demon Lord has observed mourning for 3 years. Today, he proudly returns as a representative. Truly a joyous occasion. He spoke in a profoundly sentimental tone. The human army, stationed 100 miles away, remains restless. Thanks to the Grand General's defense, our city has been safeguarded. Hearing this, Laurel Frost found the reasoning convincing. The Grand General is truly remarkable. Since my grandfather's time, he has commanded all forces to protect Cloud Kingdom. He deserves a great reward. Dark Hawk had long awaited this critical moment. Finally, he spoke up. If Your Highness is so sincere, I have a request. He immediately issued an order for Warlord to be summoned. Without delay, Dark Hawk voiced his proposal. Your Highness, please grant my son a marriage alliance. He justified his request persuasively. After all, they have grown up together since childhood. Upon seeing Hawk Warlord, Laurel Frost couldn't help but exclaim. 3 years have passed. Warlord, do you have someone you like? Before he could answer, Dark Hawk interrupted. Your Highness, please betroth my son to you. The news struck like a bolt of lightning. Laurel Frost's heart skipped a beat. What, General Dark, please don't joke like that. Warlord and I. But Dark Hawk was relentless. Whether you like it or not is irrelevant. Right now, the greater good must come first. All personal matters should be set aside. For 1,000 years, no woman has ever ruled the Demon Clan. Now, rumors are spreading across the land, and the people are losing faith in Cloud Kingdom. Hoak Am's face revealed his unwavering determination. He was set on making this marriage happen. Once Your Highness ascends the throne, it should be a grand occasion. But if you marry Warlord, you can silence public opinion. The Demon Clan onlookers eagerly chimed in, expressing their agreement. That makes sense. Indeed, this is a great opportunity. Warlord is a handsome and valiant young master, truly an excellent choice. Hearing this, Lien Steele felt infuriated and cursed under his breath. This wretched old man is using such a ridiculous excuse to corner Her Highness into an embarrassing situation. Meanwhile, Cam Nacro was secretly thrilled. Isn't this the perfect opportunity? With that thought, he boldly stepped forward, ignoring Lien Steele's attempt to stop him. Little Cam, what are you doing? Cam Nacro grasped Laurel Frost's wrist and called out with a bold voice. Don't let this old man manipulate you anymore. Everyone has the right to pursue their own happiness. His heroic intervention made Laurel Frost's face flush bright red. Cam, but she stammered shyly. Standing protectively in front of her, Cam Nacro challenged the old man directly. And who gave you the audacity to dictate to our leader? At that moment, a man named Sentinel Mane, one of the 3 great demon generals of Cloud Kingdom, spoke up. This young man, you must keep him close. Laurel Frost, still hesitant, attempted to refuse the arranged marriage. I'm sorry, Grand Chancellor, but Hoak Am's face darkened. He clenched his fists and reflected on his lifelong dedication to Cloud Kingdom. For all my life, I have devoted myself wholeheartedly to this kingdom. Today is the first time in 2 generations that I am granted this honor by the Demon Lord. The aura around him grew intense, exuding a menacing killing intent. I urge your highness to think carefully before giving an answer. Lien Steel immediately raised his bow, ready to strike. Are you trying to force the ruler to abdicate? Stand down at once, the 3 royal guards anxiously reported. Hoak Am, be careful with your actions. However, Hoak Am showed no fear whatsoever. The military power is in my hands. More of his subordinates appeared, surrounding the entire hall. Once again, he declared, the military power is in my hands. Laurel Frost felt exhausted, her voice faltering as she spoke. Everyone, stop. The general has a point. I promise. I will. Before she could finish, a burst of hearty laughter echoed from Cam Nacro's direction. Ha ha ha. A woman. Is this really the so-called imperial authority passed down from your father? Did he leave nothing for you at all? Internally, he scoffed. What's so terrifying about this guy anyway? Hoak Am lowered his head and sneered. You? Since when was it your turn to speak? Cam Nacro, as stubborn as ever, simply spat at his face. Hoak Am froze, his expression stiff like dried glue. Not only was Cam Nacro unafraid, but he even leaned closer, mocking him. How amusing. You should carefully reconsider. Who exactly granted you military power? Now you're drunk on authority. Aren't you? Like some mongrel at the courthouse, killing people just because you have the upper hand? Hoak Am, losing his patience, cursed. You little son of a. What the hell are you talking about? Cam Nacro, standing tall and fearless, shielded Laurel Frost behind him. Besides, she is the Demon Lord. Her status is far above anyone else's. Not to mention, her beauty is flawless, 360 degrees. No dead angles. And your son? What the hell is he? Compared to her? Hoak Am's bloodshot eyes twitched with fury. You insolent fool. In this entire world, who else could be worthy of her besides my son? Cam Nacro, excited by the chaos, smirked and teased. Me, of course. Are you dissatisfied? Well, let me tell you something. 2 days ago, in the cave, she and I already made a lifelong vow. To make it more convincing, he even imagined a passionate scene in his mind, increasing its realism. Deep down, Cam Nacro was supremely confident. I don't believe you'll dare to kill me now. Lien Steel was so shocked he nearly exploded. Little Cam, how dare you humiliate the Grand General like that? Meanwhile, my Nier was absolutely thrilled. So it's true. Little Cam really has a relationship with Her Highness. The crowd erupted into whispers. That time, when Her Highness was surrounded by the Azure Guild, I heard it was this brat who stepped up to save her. Another person responded. Really? I've never seen him before. Cam Nacro, acting grandly, turned to the guards. Protect Her Highness. Laurel Frost, embarrassed, thought to herself. He's really going this far for me. Hoak Am had finally reached his breaking point. Gritting his teeth, he spat out his words. You are asking for death. But Cam Nacro, unfazed, continued to taunt him. Yes, 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 come on, if you have the guts. Kill me. Hoak Am roared. For insulting the Grand General and offending Her Highness. You have committed a crime punishable by death. Then today, I shall grant you that fate. The crowd gasped, quickly stepping aside. This is the Grand General's ultimate move. We're doomed. Hoak Am unleashed a barrage of furious curses as he prepared his attack. Sentinel Ming wanted to intervene but was overwhelmed with fear. It's too late. Cam Nacro could feel himself approaching the afterlife as Hoak Am's strike barreled toward him. With joy in his heart, he called out, Hawk Tina, wait for me. At last, we can meet again. The image of Black Jinga appeared vividly in his mind as he clenched his hand. A massive explosion erupted, leaving everyone stunned as they stared at the raging flames. Huo Wojin stood frozen in shock. From within the fire, the silhouette of a man remained standing tall. It was none other than Cam Lack Oak. His face was drenched in sweat. and he struggled to speak. How could the demonic military order be activated? At that moment, the military order took effect, successfully preventing a fatal wound. A series of system notifications echoed. Level up. Due to being granted the demonic military order, his level increased from 40 to Demon Class A. Passive skill activated, defense enhancement. When HP drops to 30%, all defensive stats increase 5-fold. Counterattack effect. After being hit 15 times, one attack will be automatically recovered and can deliver a critical hit. Everyone stared in shock at Camlac Oak. He's incredibly strong. Did Her Highness really grant him the demonic military order? A knowledgeable figure stepped forward and explained. This is the Supreme Demon Order, an order that can only be used once in a lifetime. Any demon granted this order signifies the absolute trust of the demon sovereign. Additionally, he will inherit all the experience and protection the demon sovereign has accumulated and will take on the crucial role of commanding the military. At that moment, Lu Bangdi stood tall, her voice unwavering. Grandfather, father, in the past, I granted the demonic military order to you so you could lead the 3 armies into battle, bringing victory and honor. But today, I bestow the demonic order upon Camlac Oak, she declared firmly. From this moment forth, Camlac Oak is the right general, leading the demon army alongside Huoin, the left general. The grand hall erupted in murmurs. Huoin thought to himself, well played. Lu Bangdi, you want to use a mere boy to balance my military power? He remained silent, watching carefully to see who would dare acknowledge the new general. Then, one man stepped forward, Wei Ming. Kneeling, he bowed and declared, I pay my respects to the right general. Congratulations, General Cam, on taking command of the 3 armies. Liao Tiet followed suit. I greet the right general. Soon, the entire demon clan joined in, bowing one after another. Congratulations, General Cam, we pay our respects to the right general. Seeing the scene before him, Camlac Oak could only sigh in frustration. Damn it, this feels as bad as being forced to eat something absolutely disgusting. Of course, Huoin was not convinced. He challenged the decision. Just because he received a demonic military order, does that really prove Her Highness trusts him? But tell me, how can someone who has never led an army into battle possibly convince experienced war-hardened demons to follow him? He then proposed a bold idea. If you wish to divide my military authority, let's put him to the test. He scanned the room before making his declaration. The ancestral demon tomb, our ancestor, Lu Yun, was the sole king of our tribe. Only one who is blessed by the ancestors is worthy of wielding the royal power. If he can pass the trial within the ancestral demon tomb, then the tiger talisman, symbolizing military command, will be handed over by my own hands. Liao Tiet could no longer contain his anger. He was about to charge forward and shout, Huoin, are you insane? No one has come out alive from there in nearly 100 years. What exactly are you plotting? Wei Ming was no less aggressive, stepping in immediately. Just now, General Cam has already proven himself. Furthermore, we follow the orders of the demon sovereign. Are you attempting to defy an imperial decree? Of course, Lu Bangdi would not sit idly by. She stood firmly in support of Camlac Oak. Absolutely not. The demon tomb has long been considered forbidden ground. Entering it means certain death. It proves nothing. Camlac Oak was inwardly shocked. No one had come out alive in 100 years? If that's the case, then stepping in is nothing but suicide. Huoin, seeing how highly they regarded Camlac Oak, burst into laughter. Ha ha ha, and this is why I say, you're all just a bunch of cowardly rats. His statement made perfect sense. Camlac Oak took a deep breath. He had made his decision. The general makes a valid point. I fully agree. Where is this demon tomb? I will go. His unwavering acceptance stunned the entire demon clan. This matter had to be traced back 200 years ago. At that time, the demon clan faced a great crisis. To protect his people, the ancestor of the Lu clan, the demon sovereign, sacrificed himself. It was said that before his death, he sealed his final demonic essence within a tomb, waiting for the next worthy king to come and claim it. Yet, for the past century, not a single demon had successfully passed the trial. Wei Ming, deeply concerned, stepped forward to remind Camlac Oak. Entering the demon tomb requires at least a 5-member team. Aside from General Cam, who else dares to go in? The gathered demon clans murmured in hesitation. That place is too dangerous. Who would willingly throw their life away? We should just forget it. This isn't worth forcing anyone. Huoin scoffed in disdain. Then he should figure it out himself. If he can't even find a single companion to enter the tomb, how can he expect to command thousands of troops? Just then, from a distance, a hand was raised high. I am willing to go. The voice belonged to none other than Hua Tianqi, an A-class assassin, and a demon clan lieutenant general. Huo En's expression darkened upon recognizing the speaker. It was his own son. Huo Tianjun, what did you just say? Who gave you permission to make that decision? Yet, Huo Tianjun was determined. He turned to his father and reasoned. Do you think I am weaker than him? One of his subordinates immediately objected. Impossible. You are the future of Yun Nation. How can you risk your life like this? He pointed at himself with extreme confidence. The ancestors gave their approval. Only someone truly worthy could possess the power of a king. If a king were to rise in the Cloud Nation, then naturally, it would be him. The demon clan looked at Arthur Hoke with clear reluctance. Yet they praised him nonetheless. As expected of young Lord Hoke, only he possesses such courage and strength. Meanwhile, his father, Hoke Darkshade, could only sigh in frustration, watching his rebellious son make another wrong decision. The meeting concluded. Just as Arthur Hoke was gazing out the window, a voice came to report. Young Lord, your decision to go ahead was absolutely right. Cam Nien was never truly powerful. Unlike you, born as a favored child of destiny, he must not be allowed to steal your glory. Meadow Dao presented a strategy. You can act during the entrance into the demon abyss. Find the right moment, and eliminate that boy directly. Holding a curling iron in his hand, Arthur Hoke replied nonchalantly, I know what to do. Back in his room, Cameron Melody was receiving information about his rival. Arthur Hoke, arrogant, ruthless, and selfish. He would never tolerate someone younger and more outstanding than himself. When the time comes, he will undoubtedly stab you in the back. Be careful. Realizing he might be targeted, Cameron smiled and thought, stab me in the back. Huh? Outside, Wei Min called out repeatedly. General Cam, with cheerful enthusiasm, Wei Min said, I brought the best healing salve and corn medicine from the Cloud Nation. The demon abyss is unusually dangerous, please. Stay safe. Cameron's face fell. You people are seriously overdoing it. A few days later, at the entrance of the ancestral demon abyss, Cameron Melody moved stealthily, secretly handing Arthur Hoke the treasured medicine Wei Min had given him. This is a gift for you, he said. The host's voice rang out, asking if the participants were ready. The atmosphere was hard to describe. No one knew what lay ahead. Leah Bingyi's face was filled with worry. Little Cam, please don't let anything happen to you. To understand the stakes, the emergence of a demon king could impact the entire world. Cameron was thrilled, eager to begin the battle. The host gave the signal to start. The rise of a new demon king was imminent. A portal opened as the host activated the formation. The space was dark and web-filled. The system announced, initiating the D-rank trial dungeon of the ancestral star system. North Chaser was highly skilled at stealth. Arthur Hoke glanced at the misty cavern and couldn't help but wonder. What kind of strange things might be in this cave? In Cameron Melody's mind, he suddenly recalled the warning from Lu Maney. Arthur Hoke is arrogant, ruthless, and selfish. He absolutely cannot tolerate anyone younger and more exceptional than himself. When the moment comes, he will stab you in the back, be careful. Now, the time to die had come. Cameron stood before Arthur Hoke and signaled subtly. Hey, look at me. I'm completely unguarded right now. He wore only a plain white item of gear, with minimal defense, and in his heart, he wondered, what is he waiting for? Arthur pondered. In this situation, when the enemy knows nothing, yet exposes himself like this, could it be he's clever enough to try and kill me? Inside, Cameron was gleeful. I'm showing him my unprotected back. Come on, strike now. Suddenly, Arthur raised a gleaming blade and entered an attack stance. Cameron became even more excited. Finally, it's happening. A petal sliced through the air, brushing past Cameron's face. He gasped in surprise. Arthur's transforming thorn blade whooshed past him and struck a flower ahead. From the flower burst forth a ghostly demon bat. In an instant, Arthur struck it down with a decisive blow. Cameron stood there, jaw dropped, eyes wide in astonishment. At that moment, both Cameron and Arthur were surrounded by a swarm of ghost bats. Arthur remained calm, unleashing his petal strike. The aggressive bats dove straight toward him. But with a snap of his fingers, the summoned petals lit up with radiant light, engulfing the swarm. One brilliant flash, and the entire group was wiped out. After thoroughly eliminating the threat, Arthur finally turned to Cameron. You had already sensed the hidden ghost bats nearby, didn't you? You lured them out by feigning weakness, drawing them into the open so someone like me, the strongest demon, could eliminate them in one strike. His face twisted into a scowl, clearly displeased. But don't think that means you're anywhere close to catching up to me. Seeing Arthur's wild imagination unfold so confidently, Cameron couldn't help but feel a bit of admiration. Wow, I've never seen anyone's brain work like his. Arthur, pleased with the praise, didn't hesitate to acknowledge his own brilliance. Naturally, getting back to business, he launched a final attack. Flames ignited in his hand, and he hurled the fireball directly at the remaining ghost bats. Blossom wind, he commanded. Yet, even after that, the bats weren't fully destroyed. Cameron, now disheartened, sighed inwardly. I just wanted to bait him into stabbing me in the back, and instead. This idiot thought we were working together. As Cameron Melody observed Arthur Hoke, he noticed that all the monsters were now targeting him. The reason was clear. Monsters instinctively prioritize targets who deal extremely high damage due to a passive effect called taunt. This turned Arthur into the highest priority target for every creature around. Cameron felt a strange emptiness inside. So now, even that idiot Hoke isn't killing me. The monsters aren't killing me either. The result? A sad, almost comically pitiful outcome for Cameron Melody. Despite the situation, his resolve did not waver. This threat is nothing compared to my unshaken determination. I haven't given up yet. I've somehow become the safest person here. No, I have to lure those monsters over and make them kill me. Suddenly, the system displayed an announcement. Demonic Elite Rating, A. All base attributes increased by 600%. Strength, 56, Speed, 41, Stamina. Luck, Elemental Power, 9, Mental Power. 480 attribute points available for distribution. As he read through all the stats in his mind, he reminded himself, I still haven't allocated those 480 points. Where should I put them? Once the swarm of ghost bats was eliminated, peace returned to the area. As they continued forward, Arthur Hoke suddenly stopped and declared, We've reached the deepest point of the map. He turned his head and glanced back at Cameron's strange behavior. Why hasn't this guy made a move yet? Arthur's brows furrowed. Could it be, he really doesn't have any power? Is he just some useless deadweight? A sudden alert echoed through the dungeon. Tick, tick, tick. Danger detected. The system triggered a dungeon scenario. The King's Envoy defense battle. A heavy foot slammed into the ground, and the system began describing the quest details. Difficulty, A rank. Time limit, 20 minutes. Objective, survive the assault of the Demon King's envoys. Note, the messenger before you has no weaknesses. 4 monsters with a rank stamina, along with the envoy of the Demon King, began to emerge. Arthur shot a glance at Cameron again. Don't tell me, he really is powerless? Just a weakling meant for leveling up? Another warning alert appeared. Warning, tick, 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 danger, danger. Simultaneously, the system interface popped up again. Scenario activated. Demon King's Envoy defense battle. A massive foot crashed down, releasing an oppressive aura that felt like it came straight from hell. The window updated. Challenge difficulty, A rank. Time limit, 20 minutes. Objective, survive the siege of the Demon King's envoys. Note, the envoy before you has no weaknesses. As the final system announcement faded, several massive and grotesquely shaped monsters appeared before Cameron Melody and Arthur Hoke, surrounding the two of them with terrifying strength. Arthur's brows furrowed. With a swift motion, he summoned a flower. It floated toward one of the Demon King's envoys. But as it neared, the flower abruptly turned to ash and crumbled away. Arthur gritted his teeth in frustration. Before he could react, the fire element envoy let out a fierce roar and summoned a massive meteor, launching it straight at Arthur. A deafening explosion followed, and the sky was lit ablaze with fire. When the smoke cleared, Arthur stood unharmed in the center of the blast, miraculously untouched. As if sensing danger, he instinctively turned around. Several sharp vines were flying at him from behind. Though he noticed in time, they moved too fast. In the blink of an eye, Arthur was tightly bound by thorny, vine-like whips. As the smoke dissipated, the enormous figure of the wood element envoy became visible, grinning wickedly and letting out a low, mocking laugh. It cast a glance toward Cameron Melody. Arthur's frown deepened, now tinged with disappointment. Even seeing me trapped like this, he still doesn't make a move? Could he really be just a powerless fool? And to think I actually respected him. At the same time, Cameron stood up with a relieved exhale. No doubt about it, I'm incredible. Grinning to himself, he dumped all 480 of his unallocated stat points into offensive power. No need for defense. As long as I deal enough damage, I'll draw all the aggro to myself. Meanwhile, Arthur reached the peak of his fury. As expected, no one in this world can stand on equal ground with me. He shouted aloud, let me show you all the full force of my strongest attack. Without another word, he unleashed a massive surge of energy that instantly shredded the thorny vines coiling around his body. But his attack didn't stop there. It transformed into a storm of sharp thorns that rained down onto the enormous body of the wood element envoy. "Go to hell," Arthur roared, raising his hand to trigger a detonation. As his words echoed, every thorn embedded in the envoy and scattered across the ground exploded in unison. Flames engulfed the entire cavern, burning so intensely that they could melt steel. And the blaze raged on for several minutes. Yet when the fire finally faded, the wood element envoy stood there, completely unharmed, even smiling faintly at Arthur. A system dialog box popped up. Damage resistance, 90%. In an instant, Arthur Hoke's expression changed. Beads of sweat trickled down his face, and his voice began to tremble. They didn't even break a single piece of armor. He finally understood. When the system said the envoys had no weaknesses, it meant their defense was absurdly strong. Suddenly, the shadow element envoy raised a hand. A black hole materialized right in front of Arthur. Alarmed, he cried out, "This is bad," but it was too late. He was instantly pulled into the center of the battlefield, surrounded by 3 Demon King envoys. At that moment, Cameron Melody crept up behind the envoys. He crouched low, shifted his center of gravity, and pulled his right arm back. His muscles tensed. "Sneak attack," he shouted boldly. Then launched a punch. The blow grew in force as it traveled, and with terrifying power, it crashed directly into the envoy's abdomen. A massive hole was blasted through its midsection, and in the blink of an eye, the envoy's health dropped to 0. Just like that, Cameron effortlessly wiped out one of the Demon King's envoys with a single punch. The sudden reversal left the remaining 4 envoys stunned, unable to react. After a few seconds, they abandoned Arthur and turned their focus to Cameron. Arthur stared, stunned. Cameron stared too. Both of their expressions were priceless. "Wait, I just blew up an envoy?" Cameron's face twisted in disbelief. "So putting all my points into strength really gives this much power?" Meanwhile, Arthur was thinking. He took out a demon envoy with a single hit. So that's it. The envoys in front may have no weaknesses, but their weak spot is behind them. Arthur let out a quiet chuckle. So that's why he never made a move. This guy predicted everything. He deliberately hid his strength to draw the attacks onto me, forcing the envoys to turn their backs to him and expose their weakness. He looked at Cameron, now standing boldly in the middle of the Demon King's envoys. And at the same time, a system notification appeared in front of Cameron. Due to extremely high damage dealt to monsters. Taunt effect activated. You are now the primary target for all enemies. Arthur burst out laughing. "Ha, Cameron Melody, you're something else." Cameron, surrounded by 4 Demon King envoys, stood unfazed, the corners of his mouth lifting into a confident smirk. He didn't flinch, even as another system message popped up beside him. Due to extremely high damage dealt to monsters. Taunt effect activated. You are now the primary attack target for all enemies. Inside, he was thrilled. Perfect. My plan is working. Now their target is me. The wood element envoy charged at Cameron Melody first. A label appeared above its head. Demon King's envoy, Class A+. Cameron didn't dodge. In fact, a flicker of anticipation sparkled in his eyes. A Class A+ demon with extremely high attack power. With my current defense stats, one punch from it could smash me to pieces. With that thought, he shouted provocatively, "Come at me." The furious wood element envoy raised its arm to strike. Cameron's heart leapt with excitement. "Yes, I'm about to be sent back to the human realm." His face was full of gleeful expectation. But unfortunately, a voice interrupted. "Bloom." A jade green flower suddenly flew toward the envoy's back. Arthur Hoke once again made his move. "Piercing thorn bloom," he declared. The flower exploded into beams of light, shooting straight through the envoy's body and draining its life force. Before Cameron could even process what was happening, the envoy's body split into thin slices and collapsed. A notification appeared above Arthur's head. 3 Demon King's envoys remaining. Cameron stood with his mouth agape, speechless. That overwhelming feeling of disappointment, surely few could ever understand it. Arthur, on the other hand, casually remarked, "That was your strategy, wasn't it? You draw their aggression, expose their backs. I taunt them. Draw their attacks. You taunt. I attack." He winked. "Got it." At that moment, another system notification popped up. Due to extremely high damage dealt to monsters. Taunt effect reactivated. You are now the primary target for all enemies. Cameron clutched his head and screamed internally. "What do you mean you got it? You've completely misunderstood. That was poison, not a plan. Do you know how hard it was to get them to attack me?" Seeing the Demon King's envoys chasing after Arthur again, Cameron shouted, "Get back here!" He gritted his teeth and roared, "I said get over here!" With that, Cameron charged forward and landed a devastating punch straight through the back of the Shadow Element envoy. Now only 2 envoys remained. The remaining ones hesitated for a moment as the system once again shifted the taunt effect to Cameron. Both turned their focus back toward him. Cameron stuck his tongue out defiantly. "Come on then, kill me." The remaining 2 Demon King's envoys charged forward without hesitation. But just then, one of them was struck by Arthur Hoke's powerful attack, losing 90% of its health in a single blow. Though it wasn't a killing hit, it was enough to draw aggro. Arthur immediately turned and sprinted away, calling out provocatively, "Come on then, come kill me." Cameron Melody, however, watched them go with regret. "No, wait, don't leave," he shouted. Desperate, he lunged forward and punched the other envoy, accidentally landing a fatal blow. "Wah!" he exclaimed, then cursed under his breath. "Damn it, I hit too hard again." Now, only one envoy remained. Seeing it begin to turn back, Cameron thought, "This is my last chance." He yelled, "You, hit me, right now." The final envoy seemed surprisingly obedient. It raised both arms and summoned a bolt of golden lightning. As the lightning arced downward, Cameron beamed with excitement, finally. But just then, streaks of blue light flashed. Arthur Hoke dashed in and cut down the final envoy in one swift motion. And just like that, all 5 Demon King's envoys had been slain. A system message popped up. All demon envoys eliminated. Arthur turned back, smiling. That battle strategy was unbeatable. I never expected our teamwork would be so perfect. Cameron, feeling deeply frustrated, muttered, "Teamwork, my ass. What were we even trying so hard for? Why did you kill them all?" Whatever Cameron felt inside, Arthur pointed at him confidently. "I officially recognize you. You're worthy of being the man who'll rival me in the future." As those words left his mouth, the cavern suddenly began to shake again. Pebbles rained down like hail, and the ground glowed before splitting apart with a massive crack. A loud, mocking laugh echoed through the darkness. "Ha ha ha, it's been 15 years, and no one has dared enter this abyss. I thought the younger generation of the demon race had grown too timid to challenge the throne." A bolt of green lightning struck down, sending up clouds of dust and smoke. Then a blinding white light exploded across the cavern, forcing both of them to shield their eyes. When their vision returned to normal, a colossal green dragon stood before them. It spoke in a deep, resonant voice. "Congratulations, you have passed the trial." The giant dragon's massive mouth opened. "Now begins the final trial between the 2 of you," it declared. "At most, only one of you can leave the demon abyss alive." A 10-minute countdown began. The enormous dragon hovered before Cameron Melody and Arthur Hoke. It offered a solemn congratulations for passing the earlier trials. In Cameron's eyes, the nameplate above the dragon flickered. "Demon King, Sulfur Monosulfide Class, Illusory Dragon of Mistvey." The dragon's thunderous voice rang out again. "Now comes the final trial between you 2. Only one of you may leave the abyss alive. You have 10 minutes. It continued. "The one who survives will receive the title of king and the Demon King's reward. If neither of you succeeds, I will kill you both." Arthur Hoke frowned deeply. "What do you mean?" he demanded. Then, catching on, he said grimly, "He wants us to kill each other." Arthur clenched his fists. "I am the future of the Cloud Nation. I cannot die here. But the man standing before me, his strength is unfathomable." In contrast, Cameron was elated, a heaven-sent opportunity. He slowly began removing his jacket. "This is the most direct path to getting killed." As he tossed his jacket aside, Arthur instinctively shifted into a battle stance. He looks calm, confident. He must be fully prepared to win. I must not lose to him. Cameron peeled off his inner shirt and murmured, "If only one of us can survive, then go ahead and attack me." A system notification appeared in front of him. "Armor removed, defense minus 50 inches. Arthur hesitated. What scheme is he pulling now? Is he trying to bait me again? As if reading his mind, Cameron added, "Relax." At the same time, he slipped off his shoes. Another prompt appeared. Cloth shoes removed, defense minus 50. Speed minus 20 inches. Now fully unequipped, Cameron stood up and said plainly, "I don't have a backpack. I have nothing on me except these pants." He casually tossed the shoes aside and raised his voice. "Just strike me down, one clean hit, and you'll receive the title of king and all the rewards. You'll become the one and only king of this generation." But Arthur grew even more wary. "What trick are you playing?" he asked coldly. He's one step away from success. And now he wants to give up? Cameron clenched his teeth in silent frustration. You're so damn annoying. Why are you hesitating so much? Just do it already. Arthur finally rushed forward and pressed his blade to Cameron's neck. You've earned the prince's trust, claimed military command, and made it this far. On top of that, your strength is no joke. Your normal attacks can even defeat an A+ class demon envoy. At those words, Arthur Hoke suddenly grew furious. If we were truly to fight, he said sharply, I can't even guarantee I'd win. So why would you surrender? Cameron Melody replied calmly, because the Cloud Nation cannot do without the Hoke family. Hoke Darkshade is a loyal elder who has given everything for the Cloud Nation. And you're its future. You're a young hero. Me? I'm just a nameless nobody, someone who's been lucky. Compared to your life, mine isn't even worth mentioning. He let out a quiet laugh and continued. For the sake of the entire demon race, I have to die. Arthur's expression darkened. He stood in silence, unable to respond. In that moment, his mother's words echoed in his mind. One day, my son, you must grow up. Become a young man who carries the fate of the world in his heart. Only through unity can our demon race truly become strong. Slowly, Arthur lowered the blade in his hand. He whispered, Mother. Clenching his fists, he muttered, This is humiliating. He opened his eyes and looked at Cameron again, this man. Who bore the weight of the demon race's future without even caring for his own life. And all the while, Arthur had been suspicious, thinking it was just some clever scheme. He shut his eyes. All I could think about was the title of king. But he was thinking about the fate of all demonkind. At that moment, the Mistveil illusory dragon leaned close and reminded them, Punishment in 8 minutes. If neither of you attacks, I will kill you both. Cameron shouted in frustration, Come on already. What are you waiting for? Am I really about to throw myself into death like a moth to flame, again? He thought. Exasperated, Arthur turned toward the Dragon King and asked calmly, So in 10 minutes, if we don't kill each other, you'll kill us both? Cameron blinked. Huh? And then what? Arthur's eyes narrowed. Then I want to try something else. Without waiting for a reply, he tensed his body and let out a roar. Colorful strands of energy began to gather around him, swirling, building up from the ground to the sky. As the energy reached its peak, Arthur shouted with all his might. A blinding blue light burst forth, and his voice rang out. Floral bloom. The Mistveil illusory dragon was caught off guard. Light flickered in its ancient eyes as it stared intently at the barrier it had created. Suddenly, a thunderous shout erupted from within the barrier, and then, without warning, the entire formation exploded. The force of the blast shook the entire cavern. The dragon reeled in shock. You dare to shatter my barrier? Only 8 minutes remained on the countdown. But Arthur Hoke had changed completely. Now standing tall and unyielding, he had evolved into his A+ form, a warrior radiating sheer power. With a fearless gleam in his eyes, he made a bold proposal. How about we kill this demon king together? Hearing that, the dragon burst into booming laughter. Ha ha ha, you truly don't know your place. Its nameplate flashed again. Demon King, Sulfur Monosulfide class, Mistveil illusory dragon, phantom form. Meanwhile, Arthur, now in his powered-up growth state, had unlocked new attributes. As an assassin-type enhancement, he gained strength plus 100%, speed plus 200%. Grinning with confidence, he declared, I'm overflowing with power now. Without hesitation, he charged straight at the dragon. Watching from behind, Cameron Melody rubbed his forehead in frustration. He's drawn his sword again. He sighed, growing annoyed. Why do people insist on complicating simple situations? Back in the battle, a warning appeared in front of Arthur. Warning. Mistveil illusion. But he didn't falter. Raising a hand, he shouted, Bloom. Before his spell could activate, the dragon inhaled and released a blinding beam of light straight at him. Luckily, with his speed now doubled, Arthur vanished in a flash, reappearing above the dragon's head. He struck down swiftly, landing a clean hit on the massive creature. However, the result was underwhelming. Minus 150 HP. The dragon's health bar, originally 100.000, now read 99.850. Arthur's jaw dropped. That HP bar's way too long. Still undeterred, he lunged again. The dragon responded with another beam of light. But Arthur reacted instantly, retreating at top speed before dropping to the ground and unleashing a flurry of blade slashes. Countless cuts tore across the dragon's side. Minus 150, minus 170, minus 220. After finishing the attack, Arthur paused briefly. Then, a system message appeared. Status. Taunt activated. The Demon King now prioritizes attacking you. The moment the system message ended, The Mistvey illusory dragon had already appeared in front of Arthur Hoke. Without giving him time to react, the dragon's tail whipped toward him with terrifying speed. Arthur couldn't dodge in time and took the full brunt of the hit. He was launched through the air, crashing straight into Cameron Melody. Seeing Arthur's battered state, Cameron thought to himself, no, if he dies right now, I might actually end up becoming the king. Before the thought even fully settled, the dragon opened its massive jaws and shouted, Mistborn Dragon's Wrath. Without pause, it unleashed a concentrated energy blast from its mouth. Cameron, eyes wide, immediately stepped in front of Arthur, taking the full brunt of the dragon's attack head-on. A mouthful of blood spurted from Cameron's lips. HP 1.400, 8.200. He collapsed in a pool of his own blood. Arthur clenched his jaw, furious. Damn it! He took a lethal blow for me again. Without hesitation, he pulled a potion from his backpack, a high-grade healing elixir. Healing potion. Restores 10.000 HP. Arthur stared at it for a moment, then hurled it straight at Cameron's back. The bottle shattered, and the healing effect instantly activated. Cameron's health bar shot back up. 8.200, 8.200 restored. 8.200 HP. He froze in disbelief. Then, turning with frustration, he shouted, Hey, you! But before he could finish, Arthur tossed more bottles his way. An orange vial. Enhancement compound, steel mist essence, resistance plus 50. A green one. Healing booster, recovery plus 50. A blue one. Fortification serum, defense plus 500. All the potions slammed into Cameron, triggering multiple effects. Plus 100 elemental resistance. Plus 50 healing efficiency. Plus 500 defense. Meanwhile, Arthur downed a glowing purple vial himself. Overdrive compound, strength plus 100, duration 1 minute. With renewed determination, he said firmly, Let's keep fighting. Cameron, now fully stocked and glowing with buffs, stared in stunned silence. Tears welled up in his eyes as he mumbled, I really appreciate you. But Arthur didn't stop to listen. He roared, channeling his energy, and once again entered his fearless stance, then launched himself straight at the Mistvey illusory dragon. Dragon's HP 98.900, 100.000. Facing the enormous beast, Arthur narrowed his eyes and smirked. Then, without a word, he crushed something in his hand. After activating the effect of lock on shift, Arthur Hoke teleported to a new position, narrowly dodging the incoming attack from the Mistvey illusory dragon. But no matter how fast he moved, he couldn't outrun lightning. The dragon unleashed a skill, demonic thunderstrike. Arthur was hit mid-air and sent crashing violently to the ground. Cameron Melody rushed over just as the dragon prepared another strike. Without hesitation, he stepped in front of Arthur. Let me take it, he shouted. The words had barely left his mouth when the dragon blasted him with another dragon's wrath. Cameron stood his ground, shielding Arthur. The force of the blast slammed into him head-on. HP 3.800, 8.200. Despite the blow, Cameron looked genuinely pleased, until a healing potion smacked him square in the back. Plus 5.000 HP. Now fully recovered, he spun around angrily and shouted, Would you just stop? Only to be cut off by Arthur, who was pointing at him with a serious expression full of trust. As if to say, I believe in you. With that, Arthur launched himself back into the sky, diving once again into battle with the dragon. Meanwhile, Cameron ran in circles around the cavern, tracking Arthur's every move, ready to throw himself in as a human shield whenever Arthur fell. And so, deep within the dungeon, Arthur Hoke and Cameron Melody continued their relentless fight against the Demon King. Time ticked on. Eventually, the dragon's health bar dropped below half. HP 49.800, 100.000. Arthur, bloodied but determined, shouted, If we just hold on a little longer, we can defeat him. Just then, a system window popped up. Trigger condition met. Demon King HP below 50%. Activating passive skill. SSS rank regeneration. Heal 100.000 HP per minute. A soft green glow began to emanate from the dragon's body. Tiny specks of light gathered around it, slowly reknitting its wounds. Seeing the rapid regeneration, Arthur's eyes widened. What kind of broken skill is that? It heals 100.000 per minute, even if I go full power non-stop. I can't match that. After recovering fully, the Mistvey illusory dragon curled its lips into a sneer. Ha, and you think weaklings like you can dream of slaying a god? With that, it lifted its head and unleashed a thunderous roar. The oppressive force swept through the cavern, striking both Arthur and Cameron with sheer power. Damage. -800. -1.200. -800. -1.240. Cameron clutched his head and screamed. Ah! The Mistve illusory dragon spoke coldly. In the face of absolute power, all courage crumbles. As its voice faded, 2 system messages flashed. Status effect. Poisoned. Status effect. Weakened. All buffs removed, defense reduced. Cameron Melody's health instantly dropped. -3.200 HP. At the same time, Arthur Hoke's heroic stance dissipated, and his HP fell. -620 HP. Both men collapsed, overwhelmed by the poison's effect. Their health bars ticked down relentlessly. -150, -150, -150, -150, -150. Cameron was the first to fall, his HP hitting 0. But just as the darkness closed in, a system message lit up. Life-saving frequency shield activated, blocks 1 fatal hit. Usable once per day. He gasped back to life. Arthur slowly opened his eyes. Struggling to sit up, holding his bleeding side, he muttered, "We're out of potions, all of them." At that moment, the Mistve illusory dragon began to charge energy in its jaws. It raised its head and roared. "Now, face my final attack." Both warriors forced themselves back to their feet. Arthur, clinging to life with only a sliver of HP, whispered, "We're finished." But Cameron smiled faintly. "No, not yet." He turned his gaze to Arthur and said, "In this 10-minute trial, only one of us can survive. If I die, you'll be able to complete the challenge." Looking straight into Arthur's eyes, he added, "You can still earn the title of king." Arthur's breath caught in his throat. What are you saying?" The Mistve illusory dragon let out a final cry. Ultimate trial, Radiant Dragon's Wrath. In that desperate moment, Cameron grabbed Arthur by the collar. "Live," he said. With all his strength, he hurled Arthur out of the blast zone. As the energy built up behind him, Cameron called out, "You're the future of the demon race." Arthur screamed helplessly. "No." The dragon's wrath exploded, enveloping everything in radiant destruction. Cameron stood in its very heart. "Even though you're from the demon race, you were never the kind of person anyone could hate." Just beyond the reach of the blast, Arthur yelled, "Cameron!" A brilliant beam of light pierced the ceiling of the cavern, cutting through rock and clouds, descending like judgment from the heavens onto the spot where Cameron had stood. Arthur could only stare, eyes wide with disbelief. Then came the sound, the deep, resounding laughter of the Mistve illusory dragon. "Ha ha ha, congratulations. At last, someone has completed the ancestral trial." He paused, his voice echoing through the hollowed cavern. "The ancestors once gave their lives to protect the people of the demon race." In the blink of an eye, Huo Wu Jun's health bar filled up completely. A title appeared above his head, a powerhouse recognized by the Demon King. Evil Dragon Lu Yun continued speaking. He had infused his most valuable skill into the demon trial. Waiting for a warrior he acknowledged to arrive. Huo Wu Jun's attribute window popped up. He gained 2 million experience points. Leveled up 4 times, and upgraded his demon form from A+ to Elite Demon A+. Level A12. All his stats increased by 1,700%, and he obtained an active skill at S level. Demon King Long, also known as Evil Dragon Lu Yun, went on. However, in the past 200 years, all demons who surpassed the level fought each other in the final stage to earn the title. At that moment, Huo Wu Jun showed a look of surprise, which was quickly replaced by a smile. On the other side, Lu Yun was still speaking. In the end, even if they survived, they were still unworthy of this title. As Khan Melody returned, he continued, "Only the two of you, helping each other and choosing to face hardship together, embraced a belief of protecting the demon race without fear of life or death." A title then appeared above Khan Melody's head, a royal recognized by the Demon King. Lu Yun continued, "That is the true precious quality a king must possess." 2 windows popped up. 5 million experience points gained. 10 level ups. Promotion to A+ Demon. Elite Demon A+. Level A11. All attributes increased by 1,700%. With an additional 120 points distributed. Khan Melody obtained an SSS level passive skill. Regeneration. 100.000 HP per minute. Despite a situation anyone would rejoice over, Khan Melody remained silent for a moment. Finally, another window appeared. "Congratulations, Khan Lark, for passing the ancestral trial and obtaining a hidden title, Demon Royalty." All additional attributes were hidden and undetectable. When the three great orders heard the news, they were shocked to the core. Each of them widened their eyes in disbelief. Darkness Huo exclaimed. What? Ice D. Lu screamed with excitement. They cleared the ancestral demon trial in just one afternoon. Dao Thought shouted. This is the deadly place where no one has survived for 100 years. Right after that, Dao Maitu spoke with joy. Then maybe the prophecy will truly come true. In this lifetime, we will witness the rise of a demon royal who will unite the demon race. Upon hearing that, Ice D. Lu began to strike a pose and proudly declared, the demon royal. The one before us is the descendant of our ancestor, the demon king of the Lu clan. Lu Yun. She casually added some details about that royal bloodline. Among all the evil demons in the world, it takes hundreds of years for a true royal to be born. Such a being naturally emits a kingly aura that suppresses all demons. After undergoing trials and tempering in the mortal world, they eventually transform into a figure revered by thousands. Darkness Huo chuckled proudly, clearly fantasizing as he bragged. As expected of my son, a prodigy like him achieving the title of royal is only natural. They used to look down on that boy. But Wei Ming, noticing the confusion, quickly corrected them. Sorry, the one who became a royal is not young Master Wu Jun. He grinned from ear to ear and cheerfully announced, it's General Khan. At that moment, the three top-ranking demons nearly had their eyes pop out of their sockets. Those few words struck like thunder in their ears, shocking them into screaming. What? Khan Melody is the royal? Meanwhile, Royal Khan Melody, deeply troubled, was drunk out of his mind in a bar and still managed to call out. Give me 2 more bottles of Spirit of the Forgotten. A seductive demon girl in revealing clothes smiled sweetly and praised him. You sure can drink, but the cursed system still wouldn't let him off, appearing once again to reward him with a passive skill. Recall. Restoring 100.000 HP per minute when attacked. Holding the bottle, Khan staggered out of the bar like he was being chased by dogs. Mumbling, I've drunk enough to recover 10,000 HP bars. How the hell am I supposed to die now? The ruthless system chimed in again. You still have 1 more skill not yet equipped. That completely broke him. He downed another drink while crying in despair. There's no way I can go back to my beautiful girl now. Before long, the bottles of Spirit of the Forgotten were empty. The drunken demon wandered alone through the bustling streets, mind spinning and unaware of the world around him. But he was being followed by a demon who appeared quite timid, only daring to sneak occasional glances. Yet no matter how wasted Khan Melody seemed, he was still a royal-level demon. That slight disturbance didn't escape his notice. He suddenly turned around sharply. The demon instantly ducked back, hiding in fear. Only when Khan started walking again did the little demon dare to peek out again. It wasn't clear what he intended to do, but just as he poked his head out, Khan questioned him coldly. You're following me, aren't you? In that moment, Khan's expression turned hellishly terrifying, like a demonic bloodhound, causing the little demon to let out a terrified scream. His legs gave out, and he collapsed to the ground, paralyzed in fear, staring up at him. Right after that, though trembling with fear, Tian Shao held back his tears and said with watery eyes, No, sir, you can't scare me. I'm not afraid. Cam Melody, already running out of patience, demanded, Then speak, why are you following me? Tian Shao looked up at him nervously, stammered a bit, then handed him a slip of paper and muttered, Please, accompany me to the 100 Spirits Demon trial. I'm willing to serve you like a horse or an ox. Cam Melody took the paper and unfolded it. A nearby homeless old man quickly leaned over to peek. Written on the slip was, Dear member, congratulations, you have obtained 3 chances to make a wish. Please bring this notice to the 100 Spirits Demon trial to receive your wishes. Any wish can be granted. Cam Melody muttered, The 100 Spirits Demon trial. Where's that? Tian Shao quickly explained all he knew. I received this letter and went there, but they said I wasn't qualified yet and didn't let me in. Just then, I saw you walking out of another demon trial. You must know a way to get me in. The homeless man, who'd heard everything, suddenly shouted, This is obviously a scam message. Who would believe this? But before he could finish, the drunken demon beside him looked intrigued and asked, Any wish can be granted? The old man cried out, You believe that? Just then, Cam Melody smiled brightly and said, I've heard before that the demon clan has something called the Spring of Wishes. It's said to really grant wishes. I didn't expect it to be so close. Tian Shao grabbed both his hands, beaming with pride. This came after I paid the membership fee and passed countless tests. I had to top up 50.000 cloud coins to get this opportunity. Even in his drunken stupor, Cam Melody lit up and cheered. It really is the real deal. Hearing that number, the old man's jaw dropped. 50,000? He grew even more convinced it was a scam and muttered to himself. This sounds even more like a fraud. Maybe I should change careers. What is this kid thinking? A bottle costs just 1 cent. And he's this easy to scam? I'm done collecting trash from now on. Cam Melody gave a thumbs up and exclaimed, "You're really lucky." Huh? Tian Xiao happily replied, "I think so too." Tian Xiao thought of his mother. And his eyes welled up with tears again. "This is my last chance," he said softly. "I gave all the money I earned to the 100 Spirits Club just to secure this spot. My mother has heart failure, and only 1 month left. I have to find a suitable heart for her as soon as possible." The old homeless man clicked his tongue in sympathy. "How pitiful," he muttered, "but no one's dumb enough to actually go with you." Before he could finish, the newly awakened royal calmly said, "I'll go with you, but you have to share 1 wish with me." Cam Melody suddenly felt a renewed sense of purpose and tightly clenched his fist with determination. "I just need to wish for a human reincarnation directly, that should work. Right? I'm a genius." And so, the two of them set off together. Tian Xiao generously offered, "I can even give you 2 wishes." Cam Melody chuckled and looked him up and down. "Aren't you polite?" Tian Xiao grinned. "As long as my mother lives. That's all I need." The trash picker gave up on convincing them, his heart too tired to argue. "You two really are terrifyingly in sync." Cam Melody reassured Tian Xiao. "You're truly a filial son. Don't worry, your mother will be saved." Tian Xiao beamed. "Thank you so much, uncle." Cam corrected him with a smile. "Call me brother instead." The old man quietly replayed Tian Xiao's words in his head, growing increasingly suspicious. If they won't even let him into the 100 Spirits Demon trial, and they're promising wish fulfillment, isn't this just one of those shady scams? That black market group's been pretty active lately. Not long after, Tian Xiao led Cam to the entrance of a cave. "This is it," he declared. Cam Melody's eyes lit up. "Here I come, wish of mine." He stepped forward, held up the official slip, and scanned it under the iron gate's laser. The scanner beeped, "Access granted." The heavy gate automatically opened. Both of them were buzzing with excitement. "Big bro." The door opened. Tian Xiao shouted, with hope in their hearts. The two dashed inside, unaware they were being watched. One observer chuckled darkly. Another fish took the bait. In another room, the leader of the operation coldly ordered, "Shut the gate. Reel them in." He reminded his underlings, "Don't be too rough. We can't use them if they're dead." As Cam Melody and Tian Xiao entered what looked like an office, the gate suddenly slammed shut behind them. The two turned to look, only to see a demon equipped with iron gloves silently approaching from the shadows. Without a word, the demon leapt to attack. Tian Xiao gasped and shouted, "Watch out, big bro." Cam Melody, still a bit tipsy, groggily turned at the sound of the warning. The moment Cam Melody turned around, he took a full punch, one loaded with mechanical force. And yet, the damage he received was only 5 points. Not even half a second later, his passive skill activated, instantly restoring the lost health. Cam blinked blankly and muttered, "Huh?" Then politely asked, "Excuse me, is this the 100 Spirits Demon trial?" The demon who had just attacked stood stunned. Seeing Cam still perfectly intact, not even a scratch, he silently assessed him. "He took a direct hit from me and still pretends to be this calm? Must be fully equipped." Then more demons appeared. Cam, unshaken, calmly explained, "We came here to make a wish." Remembering how oddly the first demon had behaved as soon as they arrived, he began to feel uncertain. Wait, did we come to the wrong place? At that, the first demon burst into mocking laughter, full of scorn. "Even now, you're still deluding yourselves? You fools, your greed made you easy prey for us. You never used your brains. In this world, when has something like wish granting ever been real?" Though anger stirred in his chest, Cam Melody kept his composure. With a cool but firm voice, he demanded, "Damn it, where's the Demon Clan's Spring of Wishes? Hand it over, now." The group of demons across from him couldn't help but laugh even harder when they heard those 3 words. The Spring of Wishes? That's a fairy tale for kids. You really believed that nonsense? After they finished laughing, one of the demons stepped forward to explain, "We're part of the largest black market syndicate in Cloud Nation. We lure gullible idiots like you into this cave. If you behave, you get to stay here in the trial grounds, working for us like slaves forever. If you don't cooperate, well, we'll just cut off your limbs and harvest your organs. After all, you're from the bottom tier of society. If you vanish from the world, no one will notice." He looked Cam up and down with a sneer. "Even though you look scrawny and useless, you should be good enough for a few military drills at least." Then, without shame, the demon reached out and stroked Cam's cheek. Half threatening, half mocking. Be a good little dog and understand your place. But that action was no different from tugging a lion's mane. In a flash, Cam fired off a punch that sent the demon flying. The demons who had just been laughing wildly were frozen in disbelief. Jaws hanging open. In unison, they blurted, "What the hell just happened?" The unlucky demon who dared touch him crashed straight into the iron wall with the force of a rocket. Got wedged in the metal. And passed out on the spot, completely out cold. Melody Snail brought countless hopes with him, only to be met with deep, crushing disappointment. How many times had it been now? His eyes flashed with a red laser-like glow. His face dark and filled with a deadly aura ever since he came back to life. One after another, his illusions crumbled away. Even Heaven's Smile was left speechless. The deceitful, double-standard demons watching the scene were fuming with rage. The one in the center clenched his teeth and shouted, "How dare you fight back?" At that command, all of them activated their armor. Mechanical parts swiftly launched toward the scammers, entering in advanced combat mode. The armors, crafted with modern technology, automatically attached themselves to the wearers' bodies. Strips of metal unraveled like small ribbons before wrapping back around their owners. The red armor was worn by the female demon, while the green armor was for the male demons. From head to toe, they were armed like Iron Man. After their transformation into a trio of demon super soldiers, a system screen appeared to evaluate their combat power, military-grade equipment. B+ class armor technology. The green armored demon couldn't wait. He clenched his fist and threw a punch while boasting arrogantly. "You don't even know what power looks like." Little did he know, the world is a dangerous place. And he was about to be the test subject for their newest B-class armor. With that cry, all three demons charged at full speed. But Melody Snail, having drunk nearly 2 liters of strong liquor, was in an emotional frenzy. Frustration boiled inside him. Clenching his fists, he muttered bitterly, "Every time I get so close to success. Damn it, I work so hard." He took a stance and growled out from the depths of his heart, "I'm really pissed off. This is unbearable." With one wild punch and the typical drunken nonsense of a man who'd had too much, a massive burst of energy exploded outward like a hurricane. The overwhelming force swept away everything in its path like a mini natural disaster. Even the B+ grade armor couldn't withstand it. All three demons were blown away, left completely naked without a single thread remaining. Melody Snail stood there, tears of rage and frustration streaming down his face. The demons who had faced him directly were trembling in fear. "Please, who? What are you? We're sorry. Please, let us go," they begged. He stepped on the back of the orange-haired demon, fuming in silence. Heaven's Smile looked at him with sparkling eyes full of admiration. "Big bro, you're amazing?" Realizing they were no match, the remaining demons began crying, putting on a pitiful act. "We were forced into this. We were tricked. The organization behind this is way too powerful. We never had a chance to escape." At that moment, Melody Snail suddenly sobered up. His curiosity piqued. He raised an eyebrow and asked, "A powerful force, you say?" The demon beneath his foot, unfazed by death, replied in a defiant tone, "Afraid it'll scare you to death?" His bloodshot eyes widened, teeth grinding menacingly as he tried to intimidate him. "Behind us stands the highest-ranking official of Cloud Nation, and once the general arrives, you're as good as dead." Hearing this, Melody Snail fell silent, lost in thought for a long while. So the mastermind behind all these scams must be one of 3 people. But which despicable one could deceive even me? Just then, an overwhelming aura surged through the air, radiating pure dominance as if to declare its arrival. The demon pinned beneath his foot immediately felt it and cried out excitedly, "He's here! The general is here! You're done for!" Of course, Melody Snail and Heaven's Smile sensed the aura as well. They turned to look. Kwang Do Fan stepped out from the shadows, his expression grim as he confirmed coldly, "So it's you causing trouble here." He looked exactly like Mido Dao, only heavier. Following behind him was a blonde-haired demon. The moment Melody Snail laid eyes on him, he erupted in fury. "Aha, so it was that damn Mido Dao behind this scam zone all along." The blonde demon immediately snapped, pointing a finger at him and shouting, "How do you know about the boss behind us? And how dare you insult him like that?" Kwang Do Fan's face darkened further. With a flick of his fingers, he calmly concluded, "These fools must have let it slip." The panicked demons instantly tried to explain themselves, stammering in fear, unable to form a proper sentence. Sorry, it wasn't us. That's not what we meant. General, please, spare us." But it was too late. All of them were wiped out on the spot, no last words. No second chances. Witnessing the massacre, the young and inexperienced Heaven Smile was terrified. Tears welled up as he cried out. So brutal. Kwang Do Fan, having just eliminated his own men, sneered with disdain. Useless trash. No point keeping them around if they can't even deal with a nobody. Meanwhile, the blonde demon fell into deep thought, muttering to himself, why can't I remember who this guy is? Kwang Do Fan stepped forward, stopping right in front of him, like the king of hell passing judgment. You know too much now. There's only one outcome for you, death. Right here. Melody Snail gave him a quick once-over, analyzing him from head to toe. A glimmer of hope flashed in his eyes as he murmured, this fat guy, he actually looks somewhat powerful. Suddenly fired up, he widened his eyes with excitement and grinned like an escaped lunatic. With genuine sincerity, he issued a bold challenge. Then let me see if I can die. To make sure his own death would be truly fair, Melody Snail even generously offered an advantage. I'll give you 10 minutes. If you can't kill me by then. But when he spoke of failure, his eyes lit up like neon lights, and a bloodthirsty smile spread across his face. Then don't blame me for being ruthless. That arrogant declaration hit like thunder in the ears of the three nearby demons. The cloaked demon froze in shock. Kwang Do Fan flared his nostrils in anger, while Heaven Smile trembled with fear. Yet, Kwang Do Fan didn't explode right away. He spoke in a low, calm voice, the eerie silence before the storm. What do you mean by giving me 10 minutes? Then he clenched his teeth with a grinding noise, fist trembling, glaring at Melody Snail with such fury it seemed he might combust. You'll be moving into your grave in 1 second. The cloaked demon shouted in excitement. It's the general's ultra-powerful move. Meanwhile, Heaven Smile cried out in panic. Big bro. Kwang Do Fan pulled his left arm behind his back, took a stance, and charged up a heavy punch aimed straight at Melody Snail's face. The impact dealt 500 points of damage, but his health bar barely moved, just a tiny sliver. Right after taking the hit, Melody Snail's new passive skill triggered, instantly restoring 800 points of vitality. Kwang Do Fan paused, clearly stunned by the result. Melody's health bar was now completely full, like nothing had happened. He felt the sting on his face, rubbed his swollen lip, and commented casually, you actually hit harder than the others. A little bit. Anyway, that made him even more excited for what was to come. He eagerly urged, come on, use your ultimate finishing move already. This only made Kwang Do Fan squint in rage. Even so, he had to admit it, this so-called nobody actually had some strength. Melody Snail, sensing the delay, snapped in frustration. What, you in a hurry to reincarnate or something? Come on, 10 minutes go by fast. What Kwang Do Fan didn't realize was that Melody was actually complimenting his strength. But he misread it entirely. Gritting his teeth in fury. You still dare to look down on me? He launched himself forward at blinding speed, almost like teleporting. Despite his bulky frame, Kwang Do Fan moved with terrifying agility. He unleashed a flurry of punches, screaming at the top of his lungs. 5-hit critical combo. No matter how relentlessly Kwang Do Fan attacked, Melody Snail didn't budge, not even a single finger. The more he punched, the more fired up he got, ramping up the speed as if he were venting all his fury on a human punching bag. After 8 continuous strikes, the cloaked demon finally remembered who Melody Snail really was. Sweat poured down his face like rain as he gasped in horror. I remember now. I know who he is. Having gone all out, Kwang Do Fan was now completely exhausted, tongue hanging out and drenched in sweat. His arms dropped to his sides as he groaned. I'm gonna drop dead from this. But the whole barrage had been nearly useless. Just a few seconds into his break, Melody Snail's passive healing ability kicked in, restoring 1.666 health points per second. His HP bar returned to full in moments. He felt his wounds fading away and called out in panic. Wait, don't stop. Seeing the demon in front of him unfazed and uninjured, Kwang Do Fan was finally starting to feel a bit rattled. Still, his pride as an A-rank warrior wouldn't allow him to back down. He leapt into the air and unleashed his ultimate move, Explosive Flowing Strike. His strongest attack yet. The moment the full-powered punch landed on Melody Snail, a newly unlocked passive ability triggered. Every 15th hit, it nullified incoming damage and reflected a portion back based on attack power. Kwang Do Fan was immediately struck by the counter, blood spraying as if he'd been butchered. Taking a massive 2.800 points of damage, he could no longer underestimate Melody Snail. On the contrary, he quickly leapt backward, keeping a safe distance. Now severely injured, Kwang Do Fan stood on edge. warily watching him from afar. What the hell is going on with this guy? Meanwhile, the cloaked demon was losing his mind, screaming like a pig being slaughtered. I know who he is. He's that lunatic from the palace. The one who humiliated the Dark General. Didn't he get sent to the tomb of the demon ancestors? How is he still alive? Why is he here? Hearing that, Kwang Do Fan regained some confidence. Calmly wiping the blood from the corner of his mouth, he said with a sneer, "Oh, so that's your background. I've heard of you." He suddenly puffed out his chest, confidence coming from who knows where, and looked down on Melody Snail with disdain. "So you're just some pretty boy, huh? Raised by some sugar mommy? Don't think you can fool me. Low-level demon, you're just some weakling propped up by a powerful woman." Zhang Duel Negotiator seemed to have forgotten all about that 2.800 damage hit, boasting as if nothing had happened. "I am the great A-rank demon lord with 2 demon hearts. The future leader of the demon tribe," he declared. Just as he finished speaking, he transformed like a Super Sentai hero. However, his armor looked exactly like a savage beast, exuding a terrifying aura. Despite its beautiful name, Cloud Ice Battle Armor, an A-rank battlesuit, Cam Music House was still lying in a heap, shouting excitedly, "Yaa-ho! Come here, come here!" Zhang Duel Negotiator, now in battle armor form, responded to the call. He raised his hand to the sky, drawing in energy from all directions. Once he had gathered enough power, he stomped forcefully, sending rocks and dirt flying into the air. The shockwave followed as he slammed his fist into the ground, creating a massive tremor. The energy from his palm surged into the earth, cracking it open. The underground energy couldn't wait any longer, it burst through the surface, creating an explosion that wiped out everything nearby. He took minor continuous damage as a result. A massive energy surge erupted from the ground, inflicting more negligible damage. After the system counted 15 attacks, his A-rank battle armor began to disintegrate. It turned out he had unintentionally activated a passive counterattack ability. Every 15 attacks would trigger a retaliating blow, based on attack power and potentially a critical hit. This time, he had used his ultimate move, and got blasted away by the counter. Not only that, he directly received 7.000 damage. But it didn't stop there. The next counterattack hit even harder, dealing 10.000 more damage. He was left with just a sliver of health. Just when he thought it was over, another hit came, subtracting an additional 8.400 hydrogen phosphide, leaving Zhang Duel Negotiator with 1 foot in the grave. The blonde-haired demon cried out, watching their commander fall, General Zhang Duel Negotiator. He was flung into the air and crashed to the ground with a loud thud, raising a cloud of dust. At that moment, the system announced a bloodlock for 10 seconds. He was right at death's door. All the arrogance he once had was gone. His body was covered in wounds. And in a daze, he muttered, "No, why? I don't understand." One could say that never in his life had Zhang Duel Negotiator felt more despair than at this moment. But soon enough, he would experience true despair. Cam Music House, who had been lying still enduring the chaos, finally moved, with an exhausted heart but an absurdly healthy body. He slowly got up, muttering like the Grim Reaper. 10 minutes are up, he said darkly, his voice rising like a demon from the depths demanding a soul. And yet, why? Despite the eerie aura, the bright green vitality bar above his head showed he was full of life. In a chilling tone, he asked, "I still have full health, don't I?" Cracking his fingers, he coldly questioned, "Is that all you've got?" At this point, Zhang Duel Negotiator could only lie there, awaiting his judgment. "That's everything I had. I gave it all to you," he stammered. "I'm sorry to disappoint you." Tears and snot streaming down his face, he raised a trembling hand, pleading desperately, "Please, don't hurt me. I'll give you anything, money, anything you want." Cam Music House was once again disillusioned. He clenched his fist and, in a low voice, demanded, "What I want, is for you to kill me." Zhang Duel Negotiator, shaking like a leaf, cried out in terror, "Big bro, please stop joking. I'm not worthy. What are you really?" Just as the final blow was about to land, Mei Do Dao walked in. "Vice General," the blonde-haired man pleaded urgently, "please save the general, he's your own brother." But Mei Do Dao, calm and stern, responded, "He's the one who chose this path. Life or death, it's up to General Cam to decide. It's not my place." When Mei Do Dao approached Cam Music House, his demeanor changed completely. Respectful and courteous, he said, "General Cam, this facility is a military factory designated by the previous demon lord for weapon production." Tian Xiao looked at him with admiration, shouting, "Big bro, you're so cool. The vice-general eagerly admitted his fault, sincerely promising to improve. With unmatched humility, "It was poor management on my part that caused this misunderstanding. I hope General Cam understands. I'll immediately strengthen oversight." Cam Music House, uninterested, waved them off. "Whatever you plan to do has nothing to do with me. I'm not interested in his life." As he passed Zhang Dual Negotiator, he couldn't help but lash out one more time. What a bunch of useless trash. The strongest weapon, the higher the expectations, the bigger the disappointment. Zhang Dual Negotiator didn't even dare breathe too loudly, instead bowing repeatedly. "Thank you, big bro, for sparing my life. Thank you." But he celebrated too soon. Cam Music House stopped in his tracks and said, "Ah, right, I just remembered something." He turned back, looking at Tian Xiao. "You just said I could have anything I wanted, didn't you?" Sa Feng Liao grinned, baring his fangs. "Didn't you say you had 2 hearts?" Zhang Dual Negotiator, terrified out of his mind, shook his head furiously. No, I didn't mean anything by it. You're scary when you talk like that." Not long after, he was rushed to the emergency room, screaming hoarsely, "Someone help me, please, help," but no one came. Lying on the operating table, he was truly filled with regret, repeatedly begging for mercy. I was wrong, let me go." But the demon doctor showed no sympathy. Calmly preparing the anesthesia, he said, "Relax, you have 2 hearts. Losing one won't kill you." A blood-curdling scream, like a slaughtered ox, echoed from the operating room. "No, I don't want this, no." Meanwhile, Tian Xiao clung to Sa Feng Lao's leg, overwhelmed with gratitude. "If it weren't for you, my mom would have been beyond saving. Thank you." Sa Feng Liao responded casually. "It was just convenient. That place still grants wishes. After all." But inside, a quiet sorrow lingered. His thoughts turned to the one he loved. "I wonder when my own wish will come true." "Jing Na, are you doing okay now?" Back in that shady room, only 2 people remained. Mysteriously, Mei Do Dao asked. "He didn't find the energy storage device, did he?" The cloaked demon confidently replied. "Don't worry, the demon core is still safely hidden." Mei Do Dao's face turned serious. "The most powerful energy weapon in the Cloud Nation. We must protect it with our lives. No one must find out." He thought of the upcoming war and clenched his fists in rage. The human army is coming. At the same time, the human side was running flight drills with their airships. Tan Ji Xiao, the commander this time, shouted orders: "Rest and recover. Prepare for war." Following his commands, the human soldiers piloted their ships back to base. In one corner, Hatch Jing Na sat in quiet thought with Xiao Feng. "This battle was supposed to be led by you," she whispered, gently stroking the head of Sa Feng Lao's human body. Smiling softly, she asked, "But now, only your body is here. I miss you. Are you doing well over there?" Even knowing he couldn't hear her, she still wanted to speak to him. "It won't be long. We'll see each other soon." But until the very end, Sa Feng Lao's body remained unresponsive. Suddenly, 3 masked warriors charged in, swords raised, and slashed at him furiously. Their target, Sa Feng Liao. Yet each strike only did 100 points of damage, nowhere near enough. The moment the swords pulled away, all the damage he had taken instantly healed. Sa Feng Liao shouted at the top of his lungs, "Haven't you eaten yet? Aim for my head." The humans were stunned. None of them expected a demon to talk like that. They stood frozen in shock. Grabbing his head in frustration, he cried out in agony, "Useless, useless, all of you are worthless. No one can kill me." Then, his face turned pale. He had just realized, even in my dreams, I'm invincible. What a tragedy. Sa Feng Liao rubbed his forehead wearily and sat up. "Another dream," he muttered. The moment he opened his eyes, Lu Mai Nhi respectfully informed him, "General Cam, His Highness has summoned an emergency military meeting. Please proceed to the main hall for the discussion." Sa Feng Liao raised an eyebrow, slightly confused. "A military meeting?" Inside the meeting room, 2 figures in full black cloaks stood guard at the door. Sitting at the head of the table was Lu Bingdi, who opened the session. According to the scouts' latest report, something has changed in the leadership of the human army. Their movements suggest they are preparing to strike ahead of schedule, she said, her face tightening like a drawn bowstring. This time, the human army has dispatched over 10,000 troops. Hoping for input from others, she continued, "That's why we've invited all the most important generals of Cloud Nation here to discuss countermeasures." Dark memory, recalling a past event, couldn't help but question reality. The last time we fought on this scale was 15 years ago. We had to rally the entire nation to resist the human advance. It was only thanks to a few ambushes with the Demon Lord that we captured their commander and saved Cloud Nation." His face twisted in bitterness. He added, "But back then, the humans only sent 5,000 soldiers. Now they've doubled that, while our demon forces haven't grown at all. So our only option is to hold the line, wear them down, and wait for reinforcements from our fighter jets." General Vo Quan immediately accepted the mission to launch a preemptive strike toward the Alliance for reinforcements. Without hesitation, he saluted and left. Seeing Sa Feng Liao unusually quiet, Lu Bingdi turned and asked, "General Cam, what are your thoughts?" Little did she know, in Sa Feng Liao's mind, calculations were flying faster than wildfire in dry grass. 10,000 soldiers. If even just 1,000 of them attack me at once, and each one deals more than 100 damage per minute. His face froze. After overthinking for a while, he realized the total damage output might actually exceed my regeneration rate. In other words, if I just charge in and fight them, I could actually die. Suddenly, he did a complete mental U-turn. His expression lit up like he had just won the lottery. What a perfect opportunity. The battle spirit within Sa Feng Liao was boiling over. He slammed his hand hard on the war table, his face burning with determination and a fiery aura. "We must fight harder. We must leave the city and meet them head-on." The moment those thunderous words struck the room, Dark Memory stiffened as if he'd been sprayed with glue. It was truly a case of the pot calling the kettle black. Sa Feng Liao had just slammed the table fiercely. But now Dark Memory slammed it even harder. "This isn't funny anymore," Dark Memory snapped, pointing directly at him. "This is a matter of life and death for Cloud Nation. How can you speak so recklessly?" But Sa Feng Liao calmly pointed out the flaws in their strategy. 15 years ago, the humans came with 5,000 troops. You barely held on, gasping for breath. Today, they brought 10,000, and your response is to hold the line. Call for help, and hand your lives over to the reinforcements? And then what? His tone softened but his words struck harder. 15 years from now, they'll come with 20,000. Who will you hand your lives over to then? His sharp rebuke silenced the room. Even the normally composed Lu Bingdi was stunned. Seeing them underestimate their own side's strength, Sa Feng Liao stood his ground with fearless conviction. "Who said the military strength of the demon tribe hasn't increased?" Everyone paused, he continued, pointing at himself. "Have you all forgotten who I am?" With that, he raised a finger toward himself, reminding them boldly, "I am the Demon King, the sovereign of demonkind." With unwavering confidence and eyes shining like headlights, he declared with a smile, "I am the greatest shift in your military strength." And while his presence was as bold as a toilet bowl in a living room, Lu Bingdi couldn't help but admire him. The others also began to realize, his words made sense. He's right, this is the first time a demon king recognized by the ancestors has appeared. How could we forget the prophecy? The prophecy of the demon tribe had long foretold. The demon king will unite all of demonkind and lead them toward the light. Yet even then, Dark Memory remained defiant, shouting back, "So you want to send 10,000 demon soldiers to their deaths? You've never been to the battlefield. How would you know its horrors?" Fed up with his ignorance, Sa Feng Liao shot back. "Do you think victory comes to you on its own? You think one ambush means the enemy will keep giving you chances?" Seeing Dark Yin constantly acting irritating and passive, Sa Feng Liao couldn't hold back anymore. His mouth itched, he had to speak. "You really think sitting here talking gloom and doom will bring us victory? You've been a soldier for years and still don't know what matters most on the battlefield?" He stood up, eyes blazing. "If you don't know, let me tell you, it's the spirit of victory. Since the day I was born, I've never feared anyone, so hear me loud and clear," he declared boldly. "I hereby issue a military command. If we lose this battle, go ahead and behead me in front of everyone." Mei Do Dao glanced at him with wide eyes, nearly popping out from the sheer intensity of his presence. Dark Yin's expression darkened like a thundercloud. "So, you've chosen death." Only Wei Ming stood there, overwhelmed with emotion, eyes brimming with tears, deeply moved by Sa Feng Liao's sense of honor and righteousness. As for General Hoak Vo Quan, he wasn't surprised at all. He was used to this guy's ridiculously optimistic attitude. This guy's always fired up, no matter what. After listening to all the back and forth between the two, Lu Bingdi finally stood up. "I understand now." Seeing Sa Feng Liao's potential and fearless energy, she didn't hesitate any longer. "For this battle, I appoint General Cam as commander-in-chief. The entire army will follow his orders. No delays, no doubts. We go all in. We open the gates and face the enemy." Her voice echoed through the war chamber like a rallying cry. By that time, the sky had shifted toward late afternoon. In another location, dragons began soaring through the sky, circling above before landing at the camp where Dark Yin's troops were stationed. The dragons were clearly enjoying themselves being stroked and pampered by beautiful girls from the camp. Dark Yin stood with his arms crossed, addressing his men. I've been fighting for many years. This time, the human army isn't just large in number, the strength of each soldier has increased several times compared to before. This battle, we cannot win. But even as he laid out his grim prediction, fear started to creep in for his comrades' lives. You followed me for 10 years? I can't let you throw your lives away like this. And then, everything seemed to freeze the air. The time, the sound. Dark Yin sank into a heavy, terrifying silence. In the next second, Dark Yin shouted, eyes blazing with killing intent. Generals, to your positions. His subordinates immediately clapped their hands in response, swiftly dropping into a low bow to receive orders. But contrary to Lu Bingdi's prior command, Dark Yin had decided to go completely rogue. He was the kind of person who always chose the opposite path from the world. For this battle, he declared, no stepping out of the city. No following General Cam's command. No cooperation. He was going all in on rebellion, defying everyone. If His Highness seeks blame, he declared boldly, I alone will bear it all. It didn't take long before the human army began its march. A few days later, they arrived at the border of Cloud Nation, fully armed and ready for war. Among them was the sanctified nation's 21st Legion, led by none other than Lu Renda, who wouldn't miss a chance to stir things up. Standing high with binoculars in hand, Lu Renda eagerly scanned the battlefield, brimming with anticipation. Cloud Capital, your judgment day has arrived, he declared, practically giddy, hot-headed like ice cream under the sun. He couldn't wait another second. Without hesitation, he launched the first strike. As the siege began, a sly grin formed on his face, classic villain behavior. General Tan's orders, leave no demon standing. From behind him, his troops fired flares into the sky. These weren't ordinary flares, they were packed with devastating energy, streaking across the sky like a meteor shower, heading straight toward the city. On Cloud Nation's side, a few defenders had already been positioned to slow the human advance. As the missiles approached, two warriors combined their strength to fire powerful beams of violet energy. The violet blast struck true, detonating the flares one by one, exploding like fireworks in the sky. But Sukana had let one slip through. And that single flare, screaming through the air at blinding speed, became the unlucky first strike. It slammed into the city walls, causing a massive explosion that engulfed a huge section of the fortress in flames. Thick black smoke billowed skyward from the impact. Despite the devastation and the city blazing before their eyes, Sa Feng Liao and his troops stood firm behind the walls, completely unshaken. Not only was there not a hint of fear, but Sa Feng Liao actually looked excited. Facing the unexpected visitors, he smirked and said, thanks for dropping by. Now, the entire battlefield was shrouded in a thick, blinding white mist. From within the haze, shadowy figures began to emerge, an army advancing step by step. Countless pieces of sleek, high-tech weaponry and deadly equipment were being rolled into position, all prepared for the climactic showdown to come. In the skies above, remote-controlled drones and surveillance devices hovered, ensuring the humans could command the battlefield both on land and in the air. Back on the human side, every soldier took their place, fully armed and bracing themselves for combat. Meanwhile, on Sa Feng Lao's side, all remained eerily calm, not a single movement. Dark Yin leaned in and whispered to his men, remember what we agreed on. Confusion began to ripple through the ranks. The soldiers found themselves caught in a state of complete uncertainty. What do we do now? Should we really follow General Dark Yin? Wouldn't this be disobeying direct military orders? The unrest didn't go unnoticed. Sa Feng Liao, sensing the moment had arrived, finally gave the command, generals, listen to my orders, but with a face as terrifying as the boogeyman himself. What he said next left everyone stunned. No one is to leave the city. Not a single one of you. Everyone froze. 5 full seconds of silence. Wait, what? He had changed his mind at the last possible moment. And then, without another word, Sa Feng Liao turned and faced forward. So this was his plan all along. He was going to face the entire army alone. In that instant, he took a stance of complete resolve. The crown prince of demons was ready to fight solo. Like a grasshopper springing from the earth, Sa Feng Liao launched himself down from the city walls at lightning speed. Dark Yin was so stunned, he nearly fell backward. What the hell? Even Lu Renda stood frozen in disbelief. What is this demon thinking? From the thick white mist, Sa Feng Lao's figure slowly emerged. walking forward, one step at a time. Proud and unwavering. He looked every bit like the main character in a CEO romance drama. The kind the girls would absolutely swoon over. In the blink of an eye, Sa Feng Liao stood alone, facing the entire human army. Realizing this guy wasn't playing around, 3 human soldiers stepped forward and raised their guns, aiming directly at him. Watching Sa Feng Liao casually step out and make such a death wish move, Lu Ren Da couldn't help but fall silent. What's going on with this demon? Gripping his sword with one hand and placing a foot on a nearby ledge, he still couldn't figure out what to make of this wild gamble. Lu Ren Da's expression turned razor sharp as he glared ahead. He came down here, alone? He glanced up at the fortress wall and started spiraling into existential doubt. Why are all those demons up there not moving an inch? Is this some kind of trap? What he and the others didn't know was that Dark Yin was standing completely still, frozen like a statue, not out of strategy, but simply because even he couldn't predict Sa Feng Liao's wildly unpredictable nature. Behind him, the demon soldiers were murmuring non-stop. What's going on? Did I hear that right? Yeah, he just said he'll take them all on by himself. Dark Yin, having been caught completely off guard, was boiling with frustration inside. He's insane. Absolutely nuts. What is he even thinking? Not allowing even one demon soldier to lift a finger. To him, Sa Feng Liao looked like a moth diving headfirst into a flame, facing down an entire human army by himself. But just as the moment of battle approached, Sa Feng Liao cracked a smile. Not just any smile. One straight off a beauty pageant stage. I've heard the human army is supposed to be strong. Then, without a care in the world, he casually pulled off his shirt, subtly flexing his well-built physique. What's wrong? Afraid to attack? He taunted. His defense had already been reduced by 20, then 30, and still no one dared to make the first move. Seeing their hesitation, he sneered provocatively. Seriously? Not even one of you dares to come at me? Now, the 2 men stood face to face. 4 eyes locked. Lu Ren Da looked at him with an expression that screamed, "Who am I? Where am I? What's going on?" And Sa Feng Liao? He, too, didn't expect their paths would come to this. Lu Ren Da, you used to be under my command, and now you've brought the human army to siege my city? Don't disappoint me today, because they had once been close. Sa Feng Liao knew him like the back of his hand. This guy, prideful to the core. All it takes is a little provocation. And so, with zero hesitation, Sa Feng Liao turned around, and in front of everyone, slapped himself on the butt. Pride? Dignity? Thrown straight into the trash. Come on, brat, tickle me if you dare. The sheer absurdity of the act left the entire field in stunned silence. Even the audience felt second-hand embarrassment. Lu Ren Da went stiff like he'd been glued in place. And then, rage. He turned purple with fury. Like a lion unleashed from its cage. He just smacked his butt at us? Get him. He raised his sword and pointed forward, barking the order. At once, countless soldiers charged straight towards Sa Feng Liao. One after another, they came, some swinging swords, others firing bullets with perfect aim, all directed at Sa Feng Liao. But seeing them fall so easily into his trap made him more pleased than ever. That's right, he muttered with a wicked grin. All of you, come closer. Fill me with wounds. Indeed, Sa Feng Liao was a man who carved his own path to success, taking gunfire shirtless, without even a scrap of armor on him. Lu Ren Da didn't stay still either. He drew his sword and, taking advantage of their overwhelming numbers, charged with his troops. They all rushed him together, ready to gang up and take him down. And then, in a flash, Lu Ren Da swung his blade in a clean arc, aimed right at Sa Feng Liao's neck. The others closed in as well, unleashing a flurry of attacks. Sword after sword slashed at his body. But Sa Feng Liao didn't flinch. He stood there, letting them hit him, because his trump card hadn't been revealed yet. He may not have boosted his stamina, but with his level up, his defense had increased substantially. These little scratches? Not even close to enough. 1.666 HP regen per second? That's more like it. Flexing every muscle, Sa Feng Liao roared to the sky, taunting his attackers. Is that all you got? Didn't you eat today? Hit harder. Despite pouring all their strength into the assault, the soldiers were dumbfounded. He didn't even lose a strand of hair. What the hell? Someone shouted. His wounds, they're healing. Our attacks aren't working. Lu Ren Da, watching his massive forces do nothing but tickle the enemy, exploded with rage. Damn it, his regeneration is insane. Realizing he couldn't underestimate Sa Feng Liao anymore, his face turned serious. Second squad, attack. On the human side, they stood frozen. On the demon side, The same, no one dared to move. It was clear now, with mere human strength, they couldn't even send Cam Music House, Cam Niak, to the grave. They had to go big. So they brought out the big guns. On the control screen, a target locked onto Sa Feng Liao. A moment later, the barrel of the cannon sparked with its first flash of light and unleashed a devastating beam straight at him. As the cannon's energy blast smashed toward him, a few human soldiers charged as well, trying to land hits in the chaos. But under the intense bombardment, Sa Feng Liao only laughed louder, like a kid in a candy store. He was having the time of his life. That's right, he shouted, cackling, keep it coming. Dark Yin remained perched high above, silently watching the battlefield. He hadn't moved a muscle, hadn't lifted a finger. But after witnessing Sa Feng Liao's shocking display of regeneration, even he couldn't believe what he was seeing. What kind of recovery ability is this? His eyes widened in disbelief. A crazy idea flashing through his mind like lightning. Wait a minute, what if he was serious from the start? What if he really intended to fight the entire human army, alone? Under the relentless onslaught from the humans, Sa Feng Liao looked like a switch had been flipped in his brain. He was laughing uncontrollably, completely unhinged. Ha ha ha. Yes, finally, your attacks are starting to feel like something. His unpredictable behavior left even Dark Yin dumbfounded. What is he planning? Does he still have something else up his sleeve? And just then, Sa Feng Liao's expression turned absolutely feral, so intense it made anyone watching want to run for their lives. That's it, now I'm starting to bleed. Keep it up. But right at the peak of his frenzy, a notification suddenly appeared before everyone's eyes. Passive skill activated. One single line of text appeared, enough to make the entire human army collectively gasp. Passive counterattack activated. After every 15 hits received, counter with a strike based on attack power. May deal critical damage. Those who hadn't yet been hit were now shaking in confusion. What just happened? What is this guy? One poor soul, who had just landed a punch on Sa Feng Liao, was now lying in a puddle of bright red strawberry syrup, barely clinging to consciousness. He's no ordinary demon, he coughed. His counterattack damage, it's too strong. Then he spat out another mouthful of strawberry-flavored pain. A bin, his teammates screamed in panic. A bin is down. Now Lu Ren Da finally realized something was very wrong. There was something seriously off about this demon. Before things got even worse, he raised his hand and called out, "Cease fire. Everyone stop attacking." A hush fell over the battlefield as the soldiers pulled back. Unsettled, Lu Ren Da could feel it now too. A surging energy radiating from every inch of Sa Feng Liao's body. General Tan once said that Cloud Nation had once given birth to an SSS-ranked demon king. One who possessed a god-tier regeneration ability. A demon who, long ago, single-handedly shattered several human nations and seized 3 of the great demon quarries, restoring the demon tribe's power. Rumor had it that was how it happened. But something still didn't add up. That demon king, wasn't he supposed to have died long ago? Now, Lu Ren Da couldn't shake the suspicion gnawing at him. Who exactly is this man? What is his true origin? Just when he was having the time of his life, Sa Feng Liao was suddenly interrupted. Hey, why did you all stop? He stomped the ground, arms flailing like a kid being pulled out of an arcade. A whole army of 10,000. And you still can't kill me? The soldiers stared in disbelief at his unscathed body, like nothing had ever happened. Look, not a single scratch. His wounds, they've all healed. There's something seriously wrong with this guy. Seeing panic start to spread, Lu Ren Da quickly spoke through the comms to calm them down. The demon we're facing is not ordinary. Everyone, stay calm, hold your fire. Finally, Lu Ren Da showed some sense and changed tactics. Our mission isn't to fight him. We're only here to draw out their strongest forces. No longer interested in engaging Sa Feng Liao, he gave a smug grin. Our job is done. Without another word, Lu Ren Da turned around and walked off, opting for the classic ninja vanish strategy. Retreat. Minimize unnecessary casualties. Hearing the command, the soldiers reluctantly lifted their feet and began to withdraw, even with Sa Feng Liao towering in front of them like an unmovable mountain. No one was stupid enough to go toe-to-toe with him again. Up on the city walls, Lu Mai Nhi observed the human troops scattering like ants and couldn't believe her eyes. But in the very next moment, realization struck her. They're trying to escape? Not happening. I won't allow it, she declared. With a fierce leap, she mounted her dragon and shouted to those around her. Elite guards, warriors, with me, don't let a single one of those humans escape. And in a flash, her dragon soared into the sky, launching toward the fleeing enemy like a bolt of lightning. Behind her, more warriors mounted their own fire-breathing beasts and charged into the skies, following her lead without hesitation. Watching it all unfold, General Hoak Vo Quan felt the fire in his blood ignite. His eyes lit up, and with a spark of thrill, he turned and yelled, "Full deployment, charge!" The troops roared in response and climbed onto their own majestic dragons, the kind that screamed boss level just by existing. And down below, Sa Feng Liao, still standing alone, glanced over his shoulder. He hadn't expected this. His teammates might actually be crazier than he is. When Lu Ren Da saw wave after wave of enemies charging at him like gods of war, about to send him straight to the altar, his face turned ghost white. Like a cow seeing a slaughterhouse. Huh? What's happening? He couldn't comprehend it. They're all attacking me? Why? I just unleashed my ultimate move. It hasn't even finished yet. Meanwhile, on the demon side, it was like they'd been waiting forever for this moment. Anyone who dares trespass on our land shall be punished. The demon army surged forward, fueled by rage and righteousness. Witnessing Sa Feng Lao's god-tier performance, flawless, unstoppable, Dark Yin's view began to shift. He muttered quietly, "Cam Music House, General Cam, I'm old now." It was a bitter truth, but one he could no longer deny. These young ones, they've got talent, strategy, power. He could be a true king. After a long moment of observation and reflection, Dark Yin made his decision. He stood tall and shouted, "Entire army, listen up," in a complete 180-degree turn from his earlier defiance. Dark Yin gave a bold new command. From this moment on, follow General Cam's orders. The beast within him had awoken. Flames of conviction burned in his eyes. This time, we're going to make sure these arrogant invaders never return. His comrades responded without hesitation. Fists over hearts. Yes, sir. With overwhelming energy and resolve, they charged past him, one by one, rushing into the battlefield. But just as the demon army was gaining the upper hand, a soldier came running, panic in his voice. Something terrible has happened. Dark Yin turned back, confused. What? The soldier, pale and breathless, delivered the blow. The human army, this siege, was a distraction. It was all a trick. A decoy to lure us away from the real battlefield. A powerful human force has invaded Cloud Nation from the Western Gate. Dark Yin's eyes widened. His heart dropped. No. The Western forces, they slaughtered our troops. No one was spared. Massacres. Fire. Blood. It's spreading everywhere. The people of Cloud Nation, they're being brutally wiped out. Even Tian Shao, poor Tian Shao, was being tormented mercilessly by those human devils. They laughed. The soldier trembled. They laughed while doing it. And now, the true human army was cutting their way through, straight toward the demon lord himself. Dark Yin clenched his fists, teeth grinding in rage. And then, a gruesome, blood-soaked image emerged from the chaos. Someone was holding up the severed head of Zhang Dual Negotiator.